Hello all and welcome! I'm your not-so-humble Game Master, TJ, and this is Dice of Ages, presenting CrestVahllen, the Argent Flame. Right? I got all that right that time.
Yes.
Hey! Oh, fantastic. Good. Great. Goodness. Oh, right. First, we'd like to thank all of the artists and composers and that allow us to do this awesome stream. We'll go through the list. First and foremost, Red Sky Phenomenon, Adam Canham, thank you so much for your use of all of your music and for all of our breaks, including our theme song, Tunnel Vision, off the album Sketches. We also like to thank Fly By No, ASCII, Midnight Syndicate, Kevin McLeod, Austin Wintery, Will Savino, Jeremy Soul, Celestial Aeon Project, Critical Role, of course. Thank you guys for the use of your albums. And I think it's everybody, right? Oh, and PGN Music. Thank you so much. Great. We have a couple announcements. We will be at GenghisCon, or at least a couple of us will be at GenghisCon from February
23rd? 22nd or 23rd?
21st, I believe, to 23rd.
No.
23rd to 26th.
23rd to 26th. I personally will be in the GUI Cube showcase thing on the evening of the Thursday, the 23rd. So if you have a chance to get some tickets, it is in Aurora.
It's at the Aurora
Colorado.
Marriott.
In Aurora, Colorado. We'll be there. We'll see us with our cool Dice of Ages shirts with a QR code in the back. And I may or may not be wearing a Wizard's hat, depending on how I'm feeling. We'll also be playing a bunch of games there, so if you get a chance to get your tickets, get your badges, get your passes, and head on over there. That's it for, I think, announcements. We're now actually streaming on Twitch and Facebook Live and YouTube all at the same time. So
If we drop out,
great.
that's the reason.
Oh, the Twitch is being a little
twitchy?
twitchy. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if it's just me or
Fix it.
anybody
Oh,
know.
whoops.
It
Oh,
was
well.
working
It's extra
fine
sparkly today.
before.
I was gonna say
What?
the sparkles
Are a
behind
lot?
the tapestry. No, I just noticed it looking over there.
Oh, okay.
They're fine. I just saw a lot of flickering going on. And I was like, wait a minute.
Weird
Argus
how
is
the
somewhere.
Twitch is being like
Right.
this. Because it wasn't like this last time.
Maybe he got absorbed into the aether.
Right.
Little tiny fires.
Says
He's in the upside down
no
trying to
recommended
communicate.
changes.
Yep.
That the connection is excellent. So.
I have no idea what that reference other than I've heard.
Let's see what's going on. Seems to be okay.
The thing is still green.
It's weird. Like my preview is a little weird, but we'll see. Otherwise, we'll figure it out. It's our first time doing it, so
Sorry.
cut us some slack. We're doing our best. We're trying to stream via 3 platforms without a restream or anything. So, all right. I think that's it. Yeah. We'll be at GenghisCon. So during that time, and we're also take a couple days off to go on a break because we're traveling for a bit. So, but we should be back with a pretty recently normal schedule. It might be just a little bit of a delay, so stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on our Discord. Speaking of which, if you haven't been part of our Discord, make sure you join our Patreon so you can get Discord access and you know exactly what our stream schedule is for all that kind of stuff. And you get access to all of our pictures of battle maps, all of our recaps that we've done for all of our episodes from all 3 campaigns, and you'll get
You get access to us to talk.
yeah, you can talk to us
Yeah.
personally, and you can see all of our cool art that we've had some cool artists do. Yeah, so to go ahead and do that. Without further ado, then I guess you guys want to play?
Sure.
Sure. Do you
We
want
doing
to go?
intros
Yeah.
first, or?
Go around the table.
Oh, right, you guys exist. Yeah, let's go around the table. We're starting a little lower than usual as amount of players. Everything. Today is the Super Bowl, so there's a couple things that people needed to take care of for other responsibilities, but they'll be here as soon as they can. Go ahead.
All right. I'm Noelle. Today I'm playing Trisheni Ankmut, the Ma'itan jackal-like wizard who is really good with dancing and blades and stuff. And, I just like getting lost in thoughts in the library. That's all.
I'm Kevin. I'm playing Cole Vodison, the human bard sorcerer. And, Lahg, I'm down here. Don't walk this way. I don't want to see that.
Splat.
Yeah, does Lahg wear underwear?
No, we've established he's commando. But I mean, he
Yeah,
wears
you're right,
pants.
'cause
He still wears
He
pants.
wears pants,
Yeah.
and he's just got a lot. He's furry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's just kind of got like
No, that makes
a
sense.
floofy modesty.
I am Cody, and I play our bugbear warlock, Log Jammin'. Remember, kids, just because someone's a squid fucker does not automatically mean that they fuck squids. They can't just be a squid who is a fucker. Or they could be ace, or demi, or anything else. That's not important. What is important is never let them come in your mind.
It's too late. But this stream is not for children.
I'm talking about preventing, protecting your mind. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Twitch. This is our premiere on Twitch. Hi.
Adam, you need to... for the
Cody and
replays-
Lahg are our like resident people letting you know that this is not this is a mature stream.
If you can, Adam, like, as soon as I'm done, you need to put in something not suitable for work warning.
I mean, I do have like this is a mature stream. You have to click here in order to acknowledge that. In order to live, I did put the mature warning on there, but
There are some that don't follow that.
I hope we're covered. Like we're like our first one on Twitch is gonna be like you're done, you're banned immediately. Okay. Yeah, I wanna.
He's talking about asshole squids that dig into your mind.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
That's all I was talking about.
That's the other thing. Like
If you
because
take
of
something
Gaul,
else away from it, that's
are
your own
you-
dirty mind.
Right. He's not spelling it.
it's so
He
weird.
did say fucker.
There's a
did
joke
say
somewhere
fucker,
about
right.
playing
Multiple
with
times.
yourself because Gaul is in your mind as well, but I can't. I'm not pulling it. So go ahead.
Apparently, Gaul's not either.
Goodness gracious.
Right on there.
Okay.
I'm Adam. I play Zemdak Flint Sweeper, the Gnome Artificer, and I bitched about not having time to craft, and I feel vindicated because he gave me a month in a sandbox.
2 months. 2 months.
2 months. I gave you 2 months.
In basically a sandbox.
And
to
then
build
your
whatever I
face
wanted
that
to.
you looked at me bitched about like, well, I wanted to explain how I did it. So
It was
now you
great.
get that
I loved it.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Great. Great. We'll have the other people come in when they come in. So without further ado, let's do a little recap as to what happened last time. This is gonna be a long one because a lot of stuff happened. Let me pull that up here,
Some not so nice.
and we'll have our
Who's
little
eventful?
intro music, or intro tunnel music.
Log's apparently rubbing off on Cole. Not that way.
Jesus, both of you. Did you see that TikTok I sent you guys about how they go like when you hit a nail, shut up.
Yep.
And no matter sometimes how hard you hit it, shut up. It won't go all the way in.
Shut up.
That's exactly how I feel. If anything could possibly be misconstrued as an innuendous like sexual material, I know you guys are.
I love that you patrol us on this here because when you're not the DM, the stuff that falls out of your mouth.
Oh, I am absolutely, as a player, I'm the worst offender.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Because it's fun. As the DM, I
That's
have
why
to
we
be
do
your
it.
mom because I have to play that role. Because if it's not, then we're all like that, and then it will devolve into poopy. And we're just gonna say that all.
I mean,
around.
Sometimes
we've
it
done that
does.
before.
That's
Yeah,
true.
we've done
That's
that.
true. Yeah. I guess our standard of excellence is that at least we have decently good potty jokes sometimes. But whatever. Hey, welcome to Dice everybody. Great. Let's do this thing. Let's see if I can do this. I made an even extra long one for this because it's so big.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah.
Hopefully this works. Here we go.
After everything he just said,
I
and then he
know.
says that.
I know. I was like, I can't leave that alone.
Oh, come on. I didn't even realize.
That's what makes it funny.
Oh my god. I'm like so not in that head. Oh my God! Stop. That headspace.
You let him in.
I mean, I don't know what space you're in, man.
Shut up, all of you.
Oh boy.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. In the aftermath of the deadly chaos, ash of the incinerated cephalomorph skull falls silently upon the cold stone floor of the secluded chamber. Zemdak and Trisheni collect the catalyst dust remains of the expired faceless, while Eleazar struggles with deep wounds and the denial of vengeance upon Klaxon. Cole collects some cephalomorph spinal fluid, while Lahg devours a hemisphere of its brain. Chiron and the group begin planning next moves for Steercrag, including sending Logran to Thulmore Bed to petition for aid, especially now that the brain-devouring horrors appear to be a much more clear and present danger. Klaxon Vogel is relieved of his phase ring before a truly grim scene unfolds. Cole barely heals, then interrogates the pinned dwarf, and when met with resistance, begins wrenching the spear still impaling their leg. The party learns that Shade was present for the torture and murder of Ermgrim's sister years ago, but Eleazar is now satisfied. For those of you who are squeamish, you may want to mute the rest of this while I recap some pretty graphic scenes. Content warning here. The silver Dracosh lifts Klaxon into the air, slowly sliding him up the length of the spear's shaft, requesting a reason not to exact his cruel justice. Argus suggests that Ermgrim take his turn torturing the defeated object of his ire, but the pale dwarf remains still and silent, a subtle smile appearing upon his weathered face. The Firebeard's son cauterizes Vogel's leg wound with the spear still inside, and heals him just enough to feel every ounce of pain. Pernua and Trisheni can no longer abide by the heinous torture occurring before them and protest through tears. In a stunned moment of guilt and self-reflection, the band of so-called heroes is caught off guard as Zemdak sneaks up behind Klaxon and attempts to administer mercy. A flash of light and an ice-wind gale herald the sudden formation of rapidly creeping ice upon the vengeful champion and his prey, interrupting the supposed mercy. Eleazar surrenders to the freeze, emerging within a frigid vision where he chooses restitution over cool revenge. The statuesque formation of ice shatters in a nova of razor-sharp shards. In its place shines the lustrous warrior astride a large snow leopard-like creature with oxen horns. Under its front paw rests the metal ring of Klaxon's harness. Idoltu, now named and regal, is put through their paces, while Chiron is read in on what the party knows of the Conclave, the Host, and the Dorkennen Rye. Back at the Fang, the new Lord Carrick Stoneworm addresses the people of his charge, while the other clan leaders are tended to at the temple. Trisheni and Lahg peruse at the estate's libraries, unearthing information concerning Grey Dwarves and Animagi, while a journal of accidental rituals leads to the branding of a single eldritch rune upon the living tome. Zemdak practices with his firearm, and Eleazar bonds with Idoltu, as Greyglove Silvervein, Pinjack, announces that he has become a member of Chiron's council. The brothers have a heart-to-heart before the younger reveals a chipped crystal ball meant for Chiron, that he intercepted, as the scene portrayed within is that of the living room within the Flintsweeper homestead. The Gnomish brothers reconvene atop the Fang that evening to witness the moon dancers and celebrate the triple full moon. Shakar's connection with Trisheni feels contested as Tweg follows suit among the glowworms under the dome. Eventually, the party succumb to sleep, unaware of what to expect from Logg's dream weaving during such a lunar event. Zemdak and Cole find themselves in lucid dreams of their own, while Logg's dreamscape contains yet another new member, a half-brained cephalomorph dubbed Pinky that seems friendly enough. Log materializes a clock tower, therefore summoning Gizmo, and does the same with Cole via Gall's notebook, albeit as a smaller form than usual. 2 months of Dreamtime passes, littered with camaraderie, as construction of both the Mine Fortress and Zemdak's planned shield progress. At some point, Moonchild transports the finished shield to the waking world, where it becomes corporeal. Eventually, the trio awake from their shared fantasy, but others are not so lucky. Argus's slumber plants him in a scorching domain where familiar objects burn eternally around him. The old lady from Karadim confronts the dwarf, her form perpetually roasting and peeling before him. She warns the Red Keeper that fire does not save, it consumes, before showing him a vision that veiled in blazes. Action is witnessed where images of fleeing Firebeard family are abruptly shorn from perception by an explosion, replaced by near giantess clad in pink armor that force feeds a familiar half-orc Granuda, awakening in a torrential sweat. A frantic Glaiglove comes rushing down the hall, revealing the crystal ball, and now the room it once portrayed is gone. Welcome back to CrestVahllen. All right. Whew. That took a while. Okay,
You made
so
You didn't have to speed up much there. Just a
Yeah.
little bit at the end.
I realized that even though I gave myself 4.5 minutes, it was still a rush, and I had to skip a sentence or two. But that's okay. If you want to see the original, go ahead to Discord and Patreon and all that jazz. Okay, cool. So we're actually going to go back a little bit. We're going to go back a little bit because a lot of stuff happened very, very quickly last time, and I wanted to make sure that you guys were in this Lahg's dreams, this shared dream reality where you kind of were but also weren't. You were extant but also non-existent at the same time. And you were there for 2 months, so you did a lot of progress on the Mind Fortress or whatever it was. This kind of redoubt that you're building within your own brain space. It's still that there's light there, but there's no source of light. It's like that black with still that small 2 to 3 inches of water that's on the very, very bottom. It's very Hollywood abyss nothingness kind of representation, if that makes sense. And there's no reflection of any light other than you being on yourself. So you guys were there for 2 months, and you're now actually starting to get things. Like there's a tavern, the Mind Fortress is getting built. You built the wall part of it, and the very first wall, which creates, and you have a gate and a wall of 4 towers. Technically a redoubt is weird because it kind of juts out at the corners in order to allow for certain types of cannon fire and bows and other types of deal. It's usually built on some sort of peninsula or jutting out portion that's near some body of water because it's meant to defend against possible ship-borne or water-borne incursions, that type of thing. So it is kind of in that fashion. You do have that kind of sloped wall up. It's just not as dramatic and large as an actual real-life redoubt. Does that make sense? And it's more of a gate. But again, it is an interpretation. So sometimes when you were building it, it looked different than it actually did because it's more of a metaphysical idea than it is an actual physical thing. But the progress that you've made, it's like you building the synapses of training your mind to be... This is the representation of you training your mind to be resistant to those types of things.
Right.
Make sense? Cool. Great. So I actually wanted to... So just real quick, the way, because a lot of this stuff happened simultaneously last time, and we rushed a little bit because it was starting to get late. We ran out a little bit of time. So we are at the point where you all have woken up, and we were at the point where you all had woken up. You have the shield. I wanted to give you more time to explain that. Argus had his own dream that happened about how his bed was on fire. He woke up in a torrential sweat. He went outside and not whatever he was wearing, and because people started to hear the and then Pinjack ran down the hallway and showed, and people just were like, what's happening? So I wanted to give you guys a chance a little bit more, especially since you guys are the ones here, to explain what it is you actually did during those 2 months. From my understanding and for the way we narrated it, you leveled up during that time because you had some time to practice your own things. Cool, you had time to practice your music and your note taking and your epic and all that jazz and whatever it is you wanted to do.
Well, I went up in Sorcerer, so not necessarily that, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, but you were also in a tavern, so you inevitably did that stuff as well because, I mean, you need to keep your bard chops up. But yes, I would say...
I would have been playing every night. It's a tavern.
Exactly.
Come on.
I love the image of you still being small and having to jump on the piano keys or pull the strings of your lute. Well, your lute is also small. So
no. Mini-me playing my lute, jumping from table to table as I perform, man. Come on.
Great. Yeah, so it actually makes sense that you level up at Sorcerer, if you don't mind us doing a little back and forth here.
Yeah.
Because we'll go around. And if any guys you want to interrupt at any time, let me know. It's totally fine. We'll just do it kind of a yes and thing, if that's okay with you. So because again, not a whole lot of limitations when it comes to Lahg's mind space. He's starting to get that kind of I gotta stop saying starting to get that kind of control over being able to manifest things just by imagining them and willing them into existence. Not too different from how Trisheni convinces the universe through her own will that things should exist in a certain way. But in this space, you're a god. You have almost complete control. It's technically a lucid dream, so you can fly, you can
No
do that
pesky
stuff.
physics to have to deal with and
Right.
argue with.
And that's the other thing is like you have to convince yourself that gravity doesn't exist, and that's more of like it's like a Peter Pan thing where I just have to believe that I can fly, like fully actually believe, and then I can. So it's more of you actually fighting with your own hindrance of what's in your head, which is still very, very difficult. It's hard to actually fully believe and have faith in stuff like that.
Does your tavern have a pint of blood pit?
That's a great fucking idea.
So that's kind of where we are there. Stop saying stop it. Cole, you said you got your level in sorcerer. I imagine this in some way, you can describe it however you like, but I also imagine it in being bonding a little bit with the way that Lahg is bonding with his own mind space and actually connecting with this mind space on more than just a guest level. Because I believe Zemdak is more of just, I'm just here doing my thing, you know, like
He doesn't want to be here.
he's like he would be happy to be here if he wasn't unhappy, if he didn't want to be here, you know,
See, and Cole's just like,
didn't not want to be here.
cool, I'm partying with my best friend like all the time.
Right, exactly. Cole, I think, is now that he's been forcefully invited into this kind of space, you do feel there's a pull, there's a tug, there's a kind of there's connection. You do feel that type of connection because you have even this space belongs in some way to some sort of entity or being that has allowed you to, that has granted you your abilities. So, and you also have a tie to that thing. Remember, this is also the space that weird eldritch creature with like 6 limbs and that weird like fang of a head that just, it was just one, what do we call it?
Beak.
Yeah, it was like this big old beak, but it was just one like keratin claw that was its entire head. And it didn't have any eyes, no mouth, no face, nothing like that. That's where this came from. And remember, when you defeated it, it got shunted back to this spot. And Lahg, this is where you were when you were in that circle of like fire, where you were like trying to pull yourself out when you were unconscious, and your body was like comatose. And Cole reached in, and so this is that same space. Granted, if it's in the same locale of that space or the same metaphysical stuff is wibbly wobbly, weird, wonky. Location and actual definition don't mean as much here. Having said that, I actually want to do a little vignette with you, Cole.
Okay.
There's a moment where you probably drank a little bit too much the evening before.
Of course.
And passed out a little earlier than everybody else, causing you to wake up a little earlier than everybody else. Wake up, awake in a dream, It's strange.
Oh, God, yes, it is.
But you do become conscious in an unconscious realm
Yeah.
before everyone else does. I got to stop. You understand.
Oh, yeah. No, I get what
but
you're saying, yeah.
Everything is entirely subjective here. So you wake up before
like a
everybody
dream
else,
space.
and you take a moment. It's quiet. Even Pinky is down for the count. It's quiet. There's not a whole lot going on. You start to just get a little curious as to what are the actual bounds? What's the perimeter of this? How far does it go? If I walk far enough in one direction, am I going to end up back on the other side like Pac-Man? Am I actually going to get any farther? If I lose sight of this tiny little town that we've kind of built, am I going to be lost forever? But that kind of curiosity is begging at the mid because you are that type of person. You're that type of explorer. You need to know. That's the whole thing. You have to know more information. So I think you go for a little stroll. I don't think you're dumb enough to be like, let's see if I can not see the town anymore.
Yeah.
I think you still keep it within eyeshot. But I do think that you go far out into the continual emptiness of field of
Cole
just,
would probably go out just because he's not sure if he can destroy anything in Logg's like space, and he doesn't want to accidentally destroy anything that Logg's built.
Cool. Great. You walk. You feel like you've walked for about a mile. you can still see the town. It's small, but it's not. If you scan the horizon, even if you close your eyes and make yourself dizzy, you'd still be able to spot it. I think that in doing so, you do feel kind of like when you're trying not to think about something and you try to shove it to the back of your mind. One of two things happen. Most often, the first thing that happens is that when you try not to think of something, you can't help but think about it.
Right.
And the other thing is you finally distract yourself with something else, or you actually have the willpower to not think about it that you do not think about it. So when you're actually physically walking away from this small town, that's the kind of feeling that you're getting, that mind space of, I'm trying not to think about that. And it feels, your brain is putting it to a space that is farther back.
It's going red to...
Oh, it is. I wonder why.
I just now noticed it. I don't know how long it's been doing it.
Here we go. Hopefully it was just
a momentary.
Yeah, hopefully it's just momentary. It might be the internet. It's not much. Hold on. Okay, we're good now. Yeah, we're back. Yeah, it's okay. Just a little ISP issue. It's all right. But yes, so you have that. It's almost like you're trying to clear your head.
Yeah.
Because you have been, I'd say at this point it might have been like 2.5 weeks, and you have been in a space where, well, fuck it, no consequences. We need a break anyway. It's been a lot. Let's just get shit-faced all the time, and let's party, and which makes a lot of sense. Gaul would be down for that. Lahg would be down for that. You would be down for that.
This is
Zemdak, maybe not so much.
This is my party, bro. This is the one I go around
Like
town
maybe the
drinking.
first day or two,
Yeah.
but then I got bored with it, and
Yeah.
now I'm like the DD that's stuck on an endless
You're a party
night
mom.
out,
You're the rave mom. That's what's happening.
which was fine for the first couple of days after that. But then, like 3 days in, I'm like, God damn it! Can you guys
Oh, I mean,
just?
So I can
I mean,
picture the
I-
whole montage. I can picture the whole like movie montage of this like 2 months.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, Cole loves partying with Lahg anyway, and now he's got another Lahg to party with.
Right. So that's how you feel in this way
And then
because
I realized, oh shit, Lahg can't hurt himself in here, so they're fine, and I just stopped worrying.
yeah, you just kind of leave them alone. Yeah, there's probably this like kind of Jungian realization of what's happening as far as wait, how long are we here? It's been how long? I mean, how do we really rest time? Because there's no sun, there's no sunset, there's I mean, there's a clock tower, but does that
Lahg doesn't know how to tell.
does the clock actually mean anything?
I mean,
like going back.
after
So
that
does that-
realization, I could
Wake
actually
up.
totally see Cole like trying to spend an entire time drinking and not passing
Yeah,
out
right.
to like test the boundaries a little bit.
It's you ever had when you were a kid, you ever say like, oh, I wish time would just stop so I could get a whole lot of work done, and time kind of like loses all meaning, or I could like play video games for like a week straight and time just kind of loses all meaning. When you sleep, doesn't really matter. You just sleep whenever you're tired and you wake up whenever you feel like it, and so that's really been your only metric other than the actual clock tower. But then a clock tower doesn't tell you what date it is. It just tells you what time of day it is, and it only tells you what time of day it is based on what Lahg thinks what time of day it is. So it doesn't really mean anything.
Nope.
What is reality?
So I'll say your circadian rhythms give you an idea that it's probably been anywhere between a couple days and a couple weeks. Somewhere between that.
Yeah.
time, because you've slept a bunch. Zemdak probably has kept track a little better than everybody else just because he said, I went to bed today. I went to bed this many times since I got here. He probably has kept some sort of journal
I feel
because
like
he's
there's
very
a tally
methodical.
or something.
Yeah, he's probably kept a tally. Granted,
etching
how
it
many times
into
you
the
guys
clock
went to
tower.
bed?
Well, I could totally see him starting with a tally and then all of a sudden like manifesting a book once he realizes what's going on too.
Sure. Granted, the only person that has actual abilities to manifest in this realm are Gaul and Lahg. But more specifically, Lahg. Just Gaul can help a lot more, and sometimes he
asking
can do
for a
some
book.
minor things when he's working on his own, which is why he's able to make progress on the fortress. And allow Pinky to do that as such as well.
There aren't numbers on the clock. It just
It's
says
Roman numerals.
Drinking time, and then
Oh, no.
a small wedge that says work time, and then drinking time.
It doesn't
top
even
just
work.
says-
It's just emojis. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
emojis.
It's just emojis. And like the top just
Stein,
Drinking time, working time,
Stein,
throw up
Castle,
time, sleeping
Stein,
time,
sleep
sleep
time.
time.
There's also just like one in the center that just says now.
Yeah. Oh, I could totally see that being a clock in Lagh's brain. Like,
What time is it? It's now. It's always now. When will then be now? Soon. So
I could actually see it now written on like one of the arms of the clock. Now.
Exactly.
4:30 tomorrow, maybe.
So, you find your way there. I think you are starting. Cole is getting to the point where he's like, I don't know how long I'm going to be here, and that means I could be here for a very, very long time, or not have any time at all. So while I'm here, I might as well try to learn a little bit about this place rather than just abuse the fact that time is weird here.
Yeah.
One of the things I will note is that when you finally enter that mind space and you try to push the town to the back of your mind, usually when you have found yourself in a metaphysical proximity or mental proximity to this type of space that is so related to this kind of bond of some sort of like old eldritch bond or just like insanity incarnate or madness, as we have kind of described it as before.
I mean, I know
you,
Lahg.
you felt this, right? But you have felt this kind of instinctual feeling of this hunger, this urge of needing to like grab onto something, needing to unleash something, needing to do some sort of thing for this other like madness or entity, having the sanity, this insanity or other mind actually take control. Kind of take control. Hello, can take control of like your actions, and which is like why you have acted in certain ways of just saying, no, I want this idol. No, I want this creature 3. No, it needs to be. You don't sense that here.
Yeah.
You just fully don't sense that here, which for you could be one of two things. It could be like scary because you don't know whether it's toying with you, or like comforting because you're like, I'm safe.
Yeah. Okay.
How does Cole feel?
Cole's probably a mixture of both, because that drive has been a big thing. Like that, he does recognize that when he was hurting Lahg inside of his own mind, because he did do that too, even though he tried to help Lahg, he struggles with this. But also, not having that drive constant, like not feeling it anymore, is weird. It's something he's getting used to, but and he feels safe because of that. But because he's also used to it, it's odd not having that feeling.
Sure.
It's a little disconcerting. It's like when you're so used to having long hair and then you cut your hair off and you're like, why is my head so light? Kind of feeling.
So it's kind of like a missing piece,
Yeah.
almost. Oh yeah, all this stuff. Hi, Demetrius. Welcome. Cool. We're just doing a little scene about the whole dreamscape here. So it feels a little bit more like a missing piece and
Yeah.
not of like, when is the axe gonna fall? No, not on that.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's why it says no.
I just caught it. I apologize.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna ask Cole, like, what do you think his core feeling is? Is it relief or paranoia?
Paranoia.
Paranoia. Okay.
Missing piece, like, it's definitely paranoia.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna ask you to do something. I'm gonna ask you to roll a perception
Okay.
or a wisdom saving throw. You can do that with if any of your stats have changed since you've leveled up. You could do that with that. I don't think they have.
No, I don't think so either. Is there a perception saving throw? No, just it's saying
No.
either perception or a wisdom saving
Perception check or a wisdom saving throw. Depending on what you do, you're gonna get different results.
Perception.
Okay.
17.
17. Okay, so you allow that paranoia to kind of to take the front of your mind, even though it's hard to push multiple things back to the head because something else, whenever you're making stew and you try to keep pushing things down to make sure it's in the boiling water, something always pops up and has some sort of air touching it. So it feels like you're always trying to push something down, but something is always going to rise to the top. So that's how you feel, and right now it's your paranoia. Your paranoia is rising to the top, and your subconscious leans into your paranoia, even though your conscious wants to pull it back, and your subconscious leans into your paranoia so much that it feels like an extrasensory perception that moves forward, and it gets thrown, I don't know, in a metaphysical space, maybe several miles ahead of you, maybe more, maybe tens, maybe hundreds of miles forward, and you feel it like hit something, like a wall. And then you hear something knock back. in the same rhythm when it hits that wall.
Okay.
And you're realizing, okay, I'm in a space that's not entirely separate from whatever it is that I was afraid of, that a log has created this safe space for us. He's just actually created, I don't know, like a bubble or something to create a pocket within a pocket of this. You're a marble within the bowling ball of whatever this is.
Well, I mean, I cast that spell on Log every night before we go to bed to like create that kind of safe
Right.
fortress. So,
And so like that has like allowed him to manifest this bubble of a marble within this glass bowling ball of whatever this other thing is. Now, the intent of this bowling ball entity, as I've kind of like given like a metaphor of it, is not necessarily nefarious, because we remember that it kind of has acted differently upon, you know, depending on certain like impetus and stimuli with you guys. With Log, it's more like, hey, this is what I've asked you to do. You're gonna do this, right?
Right.
And it's been pretty difficult to argue with, or I'll say like what's the word I'm looking for? Be diplomatic with. It's going to say this. It's my way or the highway. I'm not.
No
like,
debates.
Right. Yeah. Kind of. Like I'm not. It's my way or the highway. I'm not trying to fuck you, but I'm also. But this is like you agreed to this. This is the pact that you agreed to, and there's, you know, some consequences along the way. The feeling that you're getting is because of that perception, because of that knock in the back, you feel like you have the illusion of choice here. And it's a little bit more complicated than just one or the other. You also get a little bit of an understanding as whatever being or entity that Log seems to be tied to, that seems to be granting him this powers, is not entirely juxtapositional or dichotomous or separate from whatever entity is tied to the eldritch idols and that creature that came out in that like six. They are in somewhat related, tied to each other or otherwise. They are not entirely separate. Although at times that you have witnessed they may be at odds, they appear to share some sort of origin or something, whether they're two sides of the same coin, or it's hard to give you an analogy of that type of thing. It also means that given just a knock, it would be near impossible to tell which one's knocking.
right.
So having said that, what do you do?
I mean, something knocked back. Cole's gonna knock a rhythm on the door. You know, shave and a haircut.
Okay, cool. So this is actually really interesting. Once you kind of reach out your perception, you close your eyes for a moment, and you reach out your perception as your paranoia kind of takes over, and your mind like Superman style, or oh, righty then, from like Ace Ventura: Pet Detective when nature calls, and his like brain goes all the way across thing into like the temple in the mountains in the monastery. That kind of feeling.
Oh yeah, it's the
never thought I'd reference that. Ever
It's like
again.
reaching my mind out when I'm talking to somebody a long distance away with my
Yeah,
mental
you feel like
ability.
you're astral projecting like miles and miles and miles ahead in this metaphysical dream space, and you knock down. When you open your eyes, there's a door that you have materialized in front of you, just a regular door, like wooden, planed with a couple rivets in it, that you look up and you reach your hand up and you hear bang on the other side of it. Like much louder, but it like echoes within it. So it echoes in an area that has no walls, which is wild, right?
Cole would love that.
And it
'cause it's
feels like the whole domain is like when it does that. But the door definitely does like buckle in a little bit when you hear that last bit. That's what you hear.
housekeeping.
Oh yeah, do you want the door to be full size or your size?
I think my size. Would
Okay,
be better,
cool.
yeah. I'm just making a joke there, but yeah.
Sure. Yeah. You say housekeeping? How the fuck am I supposed to respond to that?
Yes, and
You hear what the sound of like of like the lock on the other side of the door unlocking.
That's an unlocked door. Cole will
It doesn't move, but it's like someone in their apartment has heard housekeeping. They unlock the door. They're still going to do their own thing, but you're allowed to come in if you want, that kind of thing.
Oh, Cole would totally open the door.
You open the door?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Cole's inquisitive.
You open the door. You find yourself. It's just the door just swings open. There's nothing beyond it. It just like you can just see everything the way it is. There's no doorway. There's no door frame. The door just swings in like space, hinged to nothing. You on the other side of the door, it just continues what you see. No change, as if the door wasn't there. It just swings, but it opens. What you do feel is you know that part of you that causes you to run faster when you're being chased, that like kind of fear, where your adrenaline kicks in, and then this other little part of your brain says, no, we need to be in overdrive, and it kicks you. You feel that like that heart just drops like all the way down into your bowels, and that tingly feeling of when you feel zero grav on a roller coaster, it just happens as soon as that door swings open. That feeling just fills your body, and that tingle.
Oh, man. Fuck. See, now you give me where I don't know how to respond to it there. So, fair play.
Oh, this shouldn't be calm at all. I don't know why
Oh, yeah.
calm music.
It's wondrous.
Cole's going to try and calm himself down and step through the door.
Okay, cool. What I'm going to say is that, why don't you go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw?
Okay.
See if you can calm yourself down.
There we go. That's what I like to see. 19.
19. I really should have had you roll this in the Tower of Terrors, which I don't know where it is. Where is
It's
it?
probably behind that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because that, depending on what you were going to roll for that, you feel as you calm yourself down, your instinct of what is on the other side of the door change.
Okay.
You step through, feeling a little bit more calm. Your eyes open or closed?
Open.
Open. You step through. As you do, the camera kind of like it starts off in front of you, looking at you, and you can see behind you the small scape of the town. It starts out in front of you, and then as you pass through the door, it moves alongside of you to do your profile, and then behind you. And as it moves along your profile, your body creates the fading point.
Okay.
Like the cut point of where like the green screen would take control,
Yeah.
and a different I want to say panorama kind of takes control of the thing. So only as you actually pass through the threshold do things actually change, and then the camera kind of turns around to show that until it's now suddenly behind your shoulder in this weird Inception kind of way. And what you walk into is at first, it looks kind of like a calm hillside that at night that's kind of dark, that after like a heavy rain, so there's some mud and stuff, and it doesn't look super, super great, but there's like a hill over on this side and then a slope that goes down. It almost looks like grazing grounds that have since been overgrazed, and all that's left is mud, and it kind of dips down into what you can see what looks like a valley that may have a couple houses with a couple lanterns lit in it. And then the first thing that happens that you see before you is, as you try to focus, things change. As over the horizon, coming over another hill, is this what would be like a moon or a sun, but it's not. It's like a different celestial body that appears to not have a spherical shape and undulates under its own form. And you can't. All you can see is like the silhouette of it being cast onto you by the stars, and it just kind of undulates and moves, and you really can't tell what it is. And from it, just there's this shockwave that just causes all the stars that are in the sky to just snuff out in the way. And once it finally hits like past your periphery, it starts to creep under your feet and past over the hillside, turning the mud into creep musculature that pulses and is like it's pumping its own blood. Very similar to how you remember all those like eyes, the sea of eyes and the sea of musculature, kind of like StarCraft Zerg creep landscape, that kind of like that feeling, where it's just existing biomass land, living land. And it spreads like a very fast shockwave down into the valley until the small houses that were down there are now small spires of twisting like bone and other musculature and cartilage that appear to sometimes be attached to each other. There's like this one that goes down, it actually inserts itself into another spire, pumps something in, and then comes out and then spews gas and then goes into another one. Almost like an artery that's feeding blood to like one spot and then to another spot, like a bivalve kind of way, but in a way where it's actually a protrusion. And you feel, and everything has changed. This entity now just looms there and sits there and kind of undulates up in the sky. Who knows how far into space it is? But what you don't feel is that hunger that you got from when you had first had that like insanity infected you by the idol.
Yeah.
You have it's only then that you actually notice when you turn around the door's still open. Through the door you see the town in his space.
After looking through and seeing this and everything, turning around, seeing the door, Cole's gonna turn around and go back at that point. He's seen this. This is really cool, but probably not a smart thing to go off in Log's mind without Log too much further.
Okay. Okay. You control your breath. Do you back out or do you turn around?
I turn around.
You turn around. The second you turn around, you just hear the whole landscape just squelch and like whisper, "Witness."
Cole would turn back around on that, yeah.
Okay, you turn back around.
Still watch
It's just nothing has changed. Things just undulating, moving.
watch it for a little bit longer, then start backing out of it
Okay.
until the very last second when he closes the door.
Okay. You the like the words of a language you were never taught how to speak. The second you click the door close, that word in your mind, it appears to be like a title, that something that you've been called, just reverberates. Witness, some almost like a heraldry of something you've been dubbed.
Okay.
Is as a witness.
Perfect for a bard.
Yeah, literally.
And you go back and you return to the town and you just feel, after that experience, you just feel closer to whatever this power is. It appears that whatever entity that's causing those tentacles to grow in your eyes, like how Zemdek had braid worms and you had eye worms and all this other jazz, this connection to whatever this eldritch, dark, insanity, madness entity is, even if it's just a singular one, it would not be, or it's just an idea, who knows? It's so ambiguous, you don't know. They appear to be drawing the same power of the universe from the same source, even if it is one source. All this is super, super ambiguous, but you're kind of getting that they're part of the same menagerie.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
There's something similar and yet dissimilar at the same time.
Right. So all you did, what you feel like, is that you found a different avenue rather than going through a certain travel agency in order to get your destination. You decided to book the flight yourself.
Yeah.
A little bit, and just talked to someone at the airport that knew a little bit more, and that's kind of what you felt like. And they were just like, "Here, let me just push you along."
Yeah.
That's the kind of feeling you're getting.
Okay.
You feel closer to that a little bit. You skip the middleman a little bit, you know. Great. So that's what you have. Log and Gall. You just fuck around and find out the whole time. I mean, I don't really think there's a whole lot that you guys do that we really need to vignette as much as, I mean,
I'm just in my playpen.
Yeah, you just have a good time. I mean, you work when you feel like you want to work, and that's about it. Pinky does usually what you say you're going to do. Pinky likes to have fun and laugh. Technically, so it's actually interesting. Technically, Pinky is like a lobotomized cephalomorph, but in the way that a cephalomorph would be lobotomized, they kind of act like just a normal kind of human, like one of you was, because they're so superiorly intelligent.
There was enough there that just even that much.
Yeah,
left
it
over
just kind of
is-
evens them out and just makes them kind of like along your level. And they're just like, hey, and they're just a bro, but they don't have like a mouth. Well, they do, but they don't really talk like that. They just. So you guys just make a good amount of work done as far as what you've actually accomplished. Your fortress, you get the wall, you get all that jazz done. You have the walls of the redoubt done. You have the towers of the redoubt done. There are no like artillery or any weapons like that. The gate is done. The gate mechanism is done. You have started to build the basement level, or dug into your space in order to make the foundation of the castle proper, or like the fortress proper. I'll say as you do so, it's not something that you dig into, because remember, there's that layer of water, and then there's just like a black, almost like obsidian slate that's just super, super smooth. So you just imagine doing that, and you just kind of think hard enough, and it eventually just starts to dip and fill with water, and just create a spot where you can start building stuff. When you want to change the terrain, you just think hard enough. Every once in a while, you're like, and then you have to take a quick bathroom break because something accidental happened, and then you come back.
Pants are easy to change here. So.
Yeah. And there's also water everywhere. So
You have
That's
a
what
remote
happens.
in your basement, dude.
with you, not much different, I'll say. What I will say is that the one brand of that one eldritch symbol that you found when you were looking through the library is still on the book that you pull out, even in this space. It doesn't like actually read anything, because a lot of the ways that the eldritch language that I don't think you're actually starting to understand that you just know what it says. But in order for you to know what it says, it requires the context of other ones around it, which
So
is
the
why
rune
when
by
you-
itself doesn't mean anything.
yeah,
Specific.
it doesn't
It's just,
really mean anything. I don't think Lahg is consciously aware of this, but the way the language works is that it's a referential language. So the way it is that if this rune is here and it's before this rune, it's kind of like how Roman numerals work, but they don't really mean anything by their own, but a little bit more so than that. On its own, it really doesn't mean anything. It has to refer to something else in order for you to get a story out of it. That's why when you read the bottom of the idol, you needed to be able to read all of them before you knew that it said the mongrel fled. Just one symbol. It's like me throwing an algebra variable at you. It doesn't mean anything without context.
Right.
Great. So that's, unless there's something special you'd like to do.
Well, since I am in here for 2 months,
Sure.
can I spend some of it working the balls?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
gotta
You
go
may
with a
spend some of
better
it working the
one
ball.
for
I will say.
It's not gonna get any better once I actually get the spell. By the way.
So here's the deal. I mean,
I believe that.
You're pretty far along, right? You've got how many successes?
I spent a little time working on that too. But
So only 6 at the
You
moment.
got 6 successes.
Yeah.
I'll say, undoubtedly, given successes and failures over the course of 2 months, of time here, you can absolutely succeed at this. You can finish your understanding of this. Sweet. There's probably a point at which you cast it in here. For fun, maybe you play volleyball or badminton with these balls at some point. Yeah. Anything else?
So just for mechanical stuff, does that count? Is that count against spells known, or do I just have it now?
No, you just have it.
Okay.
That doesn't count as anything. That consider that one of your given spells that you get as part of your warlock subclass.
Cool.
Like how a cleric domain just automatically knows this spell. It doesn't count against any prepared spells or known spells. You just know it. It's a freebie. Enjoy it.
Sweet.
'Cause you made it yourself, so you get to all the. So it means that you always will know it. You'll never be able to forget it, and it will always be prepared. Make sense? Cool.
I don't prepare spells, but
Yes. For my generic reference.
Yeah.
Great. Zemdek. Yeah, you definitely said to me at one point that I'm gonna be the mom for a while, and they'll just be like, okay, well they can't really hurt themselves, so I'm just gonna work for the next like 6 weeks.
Yep.
Cool. So explain to me. I assume this shield is a project.
Yes.
So I assume this is probably going to take the most, if not all, of the time that you have remaining.
I spend a little bit of that time each day practicing with my gun and tinkering on it, like fine tuning it, making sure the sights are dialed in, and just playing around with it. But most of my time, is spent working on this project.
Great, you got it.
So I somehow get the black scale,
The dragon scale.
scale away from Cole. If he gives it to me, that's great.
I mean, you could probably ask Cole for it, and he would
at some point, if he
hand
didn't,
it to
I would
you.
just while he's drunk and passed out, take it out of his stuff.
Yeah, I can't see Cole being very.
Right.
Well, no, Cole has offered it up to you to use for material, so literally
exactly.
all you would have to ask him, you just have to ask him for it,
hey,
drunk
can I
or
see
sober.
I'm gonna make something cool. Give me that.
Right. So I take that scale and I use that sort of as the center. I build up a boss of a dragon head on top of it, and then
You said that was made out of some of
I mix some of the moon dust.
that you got from the baker's dozen, right?
No,
that
from
I
Lahg's
harvested
moon.
from one of
Yeah.
Lahg's
When you scooped
moons.
his dream
Yes.
moon, right?
So I mix some of that in, so it's sort of a paler white, and it's got some sparkly to it. I don't
It's
know what
like it's regolith.
I don't know what a real dragon looks like, but this is it's steel with some metal flake shimmer.
Well,
And-
you've seen Eleazar, if that
I-
makes any sense.
I know.
But you've also seen a couple skeletons. You've been inside the mouth of one.
Right.
So
So I know the basics, but I'm kind of
and Eleazar's shield, as it is, already has a boss that is an ancestral dragon type of boss on it. So if that helps, at all.
kind of copying that, but I'm doing sort of my own flair on it, I guess. So the moon dust makes it whiter because it's reflective, and it also adds some glitter essentially.
Yeah, I would say like
to the metal.
smelted regolith mixed with like carbon and steel, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So I make a boss of that, and I embed 2 sapphires into its eyes. So it's got a white
Cool.
dragon scale with pale blue eyes. And then I start adding a rim to it out of that same metal, so it's the full size and not just the little scale. And then I start embedding spikes and teeth and claws to it based on the design we found in the War College for the spiked shield.
Right, for the Razor Fang,
Yes.
Razor Fang contingent shields, Razor Fang shields. Cool. Those were like frontline infantry units
During the
used
war.
during the ancient war that was used during the Razor Fang agreement in order to prevent the Elven armies from entering the tunnels at the foot of the mountains of the Razor Fang. They were very similarly to the 300 Spartans preventing Xerxes' warriors from entering the small
Very
bottlenecked
Thermopylae.
places. Yeah, so they were put right at the entrance to all of the non-caved-in entrances on the western side of the mountain, as you have read, and so spiked shields worked amazingly well, and they were very, very large tower shields. So yes, you had mentioned to me the galvanized steel you found
Yep.
from.
We have one last fang from the spatial dragon we found.
Right.
And so I make that like a unicorn horn coming out of the dragon's skull, and that's
Cool.
the central spike for the shield. And then the galvanized spikes from the trap we found a long time ago.
Right, that was in that makeshift lab where there was a giant test tube.
The claws and teeth from the subterranean monster thing that we fought. The Umber.
So the claws and teeth from that insectoid subterranean
Yep.
large creature. Yeah, you got it.
And then the purple worm hooks.
Right.
So I used those.
Right, those are
three
like the
things.
graboid
Yep.
subterranean spines that it's along its body that push
Yeah.
it through the earth. Yeah.
So kind of like almost fleur-de-lis, like the galvanized spike and the 2 more natural
Cool.
curly claws are like little triplet clusters of spikes that symmetrically poke
So
out of
it's
the shield,
actually really
essentially.
interesting because the craftsmanship is immaculate. It's really, really, really well done. It's also I've got all these craft supplies, and you cover a piece of paper with glue, and you just dump it onto the piece of paper, and whatever sticks is there. So there's so much on this shield. It does look like a kid would like, I didn't know when to stop, so I just put everything on there. Every art supply I had, I just put it all on there. So it's very, very busy. It's super, super, super busy. But it's really well done, and it's done in a pattern that does make it look, not like a junk shield.
All of the buckles and straps and stuff on the inside are from that really old shield we got from the tombs. We used it at one point to like collect melted gold. So like I dug the straps and things out of there and used them for this shield, but they still have like little flecks of gold and stuff like melted to different places where I didn't fully pick them off.
Okay, cool.
From when we were.
So yes,
doing
it's very much like a
the worm
hodgepodge
shit.
of things, just like
It's very recycled.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very
Upcycled.
upcycled. Yeah, I'm the same way.
It's a
When I'm
very
in my,
Zemdak thing to do.
I'm in my like garage workshop and I'm doing like 3D printing or woodworking. I'll just be like, this scrap piece, you have potential. You can use it. So it's like delving into your box of scrap pieces and just throwing a bunch of stuff together. And it looks better than a junk shield. It does. It's just very, very busy.
Yes.
It has a lot of stuff on it. So yes, it has a bunch of those claws. It's interesting because the insectoid, the subterranean insectoid claws that are on it are always in like an open position where like they're kind of like this, in a way where they could serve as kind of like spikes, just like the galvanized steel ones. But you've also made it, the way you've welded them to the shield is that you've also made them articulatable so that they can close. Or open at the same time, so they could be like, it could be more compact and close, or it could be open and like stab. It's just a package filled in.
Oh yeah, no, that's why we laugh.
On its own.
So
I honestly thought Kenton was here.
is a lot of material went into this. I will say, anytime you like reached into your bag to pull out materials for this, just like you do with your bag of holding, you pull it out. But the idea of it takes a moment. It's like rendering. So when you pull it out, you see like the lattice matrices of it as though it's rendering in a 3D space, like on a video game. It's like very low res, and then it starts to get higher res a little bit, as the ethereal idea of it becomes more corporeal and usable in this space. It's good. Like it, when people are doing, when people are doing acting for video games and they have all those like little white globe golf balls over their body, and you see what the computer actually captures.
Yeah.
It's just like this stick figure. You pull stuff out, and it's like that. You pull out stick figure matrices like that, and then it eventually pulls in as you start to look at it and be like, wait, that's not what it looks like, and your idea of it becomes what it is, because all you're doing is piggybacking on his ability to manifest things. So it takes a minute when it goes through a third party. It requires extra processing power.
Lahg has to remember what that thing was,
and your intelligence is a lot more than Lahg's. So for his processing power to catch up with whatever it is that you're doing
Takes a minute.
There's a little bottleneck going on there.
Yeah. There's definitely a processing bottleneck going on there. So. Yeah, you create this over the next 6 weeks. You do it, I'd say, like maybe 5.5 weeks. Sure. What's up?
This is Toothy number 4.
It's true.
But since Eleazar obviously won't wield a shield just named Toothy number 4, I'm going to name it the Aegis of the Dragon Knight.
Aegis of the Dragon Knight. Okay, cool. Did you want to put a maker's mark on this?
Yeah.
And did you want to put the name of it on this?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So across the top.
So in your
back,
blueprints, it's Toothy number 4, but on the actual shield, it's...
The real name of this thing is Toothy number 4, but I'm going to call it something else so that he'll actually use it. Because I assume, like, this is Toothy number 4. You'd be like
the thing.
Project
I'm not
name
calling
and then
it
the actual model name.
It's the equivalent of like a file name in your computer, but when you turn it into your boss, it's like, no, this was always the name of it.
Yeah.
The file name is, God damn it, finally final edit. This better be the last one I do.
But the one you send to your boss is final report.
Yeah, it's the actual name of the project.
Because I already have other Toothy projects. So this is Toothy
You got
number
it.
4.
You put a maker's mark on it. Did we talk about what your maker's mark looks like?
I think we have. I'd have to look it up. I don't remember.
I feel
off
like
the
it's
top of
going
my head. So across the top at rim on the inside, so when you're looking at it,
when you're holding it.
you would see Aegis of the Dragon Knight in filigree.
Cool.
And then at the very bottom point on the back would be where my maker's mark is stamped.
You got it. You got it. I'll say that you have access to whatever kind of facilities you need. You're not the best welder and forge master. That's more Argus's thing.
Yep.
So you have done your best to, which is why it looks the way it looks. If Argus was involved, it would have been
A little bit more refined.
okay, hold on. This doesn't. This is like very unwieldy. This is super unbalanced. What are you thinking? But it's just you. So you're good at when you're tinkering. Welding, like you can weld things together. You can use some magic to like heat metal and put some stuff together, rather than actually bonding the chemical things of metal to actually make them one piece and like heat them up in a forge and that thing. You just use a material to weld it together, which is
But-
fine. It's very strong. It's what it just
If he's-
you can see the seams.
If he's worked with Argus so much, though, wouldn't he have the idea of what it should look like, but he just doesn't know how to? So in the space, he
But the
could
fact
think
that
it.
he doesn't know how to is
But-
actually affecting its actual manifestation because it has to do with what.
if
Well, especially
you
because
have
it's
to know-
not his brain space.
It's his
Logg's
brain space.
Well, I was going to ask
Yeah.
if you asked me to make you a forge in my brain.
Oh, I've assumed you have. He's using it. He for sure, like you have, he's using it. He just doesn't have the skill set and the know-it-all to actually make
I mean, I
something
have all the
super magical.
tools. I just asked you, hey, make
asked
me
you
like
for your
a
drinking
table
place
and a
you
place
built
where I
it,
can put
so-
fire.
But the tap
Right.
room's already there. We just upgraded
And,
it to
and
a
so
club.
all it is that it doesn't really affect its mechanics. If you wanted to like upgrade this with some more work,
Yeah.
with Argus and stuff, that would be possible because you can tell. You look at it and you're like, yeah, it's beautiful, and then you show it to somebody else, and you're like, there's okay. I mean,
Like
it's great.
17
It's-
different things
Yeah,
slapped
yeah.
together.
Like there's a lot on this. It's very unbalanced. It's very top heavy. It goes falls forward a lot. It's like, but it's viable. Someone who's strong enough, which is why there's like a strength requirement for this shield. Someone who's strong enough can wield this to its potential, and it can just, but it can always be improved. But yes, so you finish that again. As I had mentioned before, there is a point at which Moochild comes in and out every once in a while, just kind of check on you, figure out what's going on. She's more like a cat in that sense when it comes to this, or they are more like a cat in that sense when it comes to this. When they're going back and forth, there is a moment where they do grab the shield, or you're like, "Hey, take me with you. I know you
Yeah,
go through it."
that was- I tried to hop
and
on
they're
the
like,
back.
"No, but I'll take this just to spite you." And they take the shield, and you're like, "No!" And they're like, "No, get away!" And so, whether it be accidental or subconsciously or who knows, the shield does end up in the corporeal material realm, and does render as the way you would. You don't really know what you intended it to be, but it does render as to what the material would render as. So it is a magical shield. It does become real. Eventually, you guys all awake as well. I want to say there is a moment where I want to say there's a moment with you, Lahg, because all of you leveled up, right? So, Lahg, there's a moment where you have a moment with Pinky in this. Actually, I'm going to ask you: does the mention of, if you recall, the mention of the fact that, because I believe some of you rolled an insight check as to some of the things that you heard them say in their mind or were portrayed to you during certain situations. I believe it was Zemdak and possibly Lahg, because you had a connection during the actual battle in the trial of the mind, of them possibly having their own Dreamweaver, or having access to one, or utilizing one in some way. Is that a point of curiosity for you at any time during this?
Because you probably would have told us, or I think you did tell us at some point about they have a Dreamweaver.
I believe it was not too long after the battle as well.
Yeah.
So I would have had a curiosity then.
Okay, cool. Is that something you want to talk to Pinky about? Or
Well-
like pick their brain?
I know that he can't talk, but I probably still would have made an attempt.
Okay. Some sort of communication.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. There is, I'd say there's probably a point at which, after eating and drinking or whatever and getting to work time, that the clock tower says, there is a point where you do have some sort of discourse. It's difficult for Pinky. What's the intent? What's the actual question? If you could give me an idea.
So I hear you guys got a dream weaver. Do you like know them personally? Like, have you met them? Is it like another one of you? They're not like you. They're something different. What do they do? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. They wake and then sleep and then no. Sleep, and then just dream. They dream. And that's it. Nothing else. Just like all the time, they're just always dreaming. You knock them out, and then they dream. What do they dream of? They send you places. No. Kind of. They send the cephalomorphs to... They create you. They... Okay, first syllable sounds like... Three. Flower. Spear. Trident. The... fork. Idea. Ideas of tentacles. Are they the ones making these creatures that we've seen? They're coming up with ideas for new you and other creatures. They're dreaming them into existence. Okay, fresh slate. More cephalomorphs. Kind of other cephalomorphs. You, Pinky. You eat the brains. Pinky, tentacles. Body, self. Mind and body. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Pinky. Brain, your brain that's missing, or the brain that you have. The brain that you have. The whole brain. Pinky's whole brain. Thinks about something. Thinks about dreaming. Makes the Dreamweaver dream. Okay? You make the Dreamweaver dream. what you're thinking. So you control the Dreamweaver with your cephalomorph powers to make them create things from what they're dreaming that you're making them dream. I need a drink. Okay.
Good. That's the conversation that you have with it. That was a lot of fun for me.
How do you
Yeah.
play charades with...
Yeah, right? I thought that was kind of fun. Cool. So you get that kind of information. Yeah, you understand that, like, I'm not going to explain it anymore because that would ruin the fun. But great. So I don't think there's really anything else to do before you guys actually... There is one sleep time that you go to sleep, and you then awake in a place where you feel things like warmth and that bleary-eyed feeling.
There's an actual light source now coming through the window.
It's weird because at first when you started to fall asleep in that dreamscape, you got that feelings when you were waking up of like being bleary-eyed and tired and hungover, and then you realized, wait, if I just don't want to be hungover, or you started to like slowly realize if you stop believing those things, they don't manifest here. So you become like eventually. So you got used to like not having the feeling of being hungover or not being tired immediately when you woke up and just being fully rested. But now you are all that stuff hits like bricks when you're forced to be upon it of waking up the next morning and realizing, oh, my leg is asleep and there's nothing I can do about it. I do have a little bit of a headache. I'm still a little tired. I need to drink some water. I need to blow my nose. My teeth feel fuzzy. I need to brush my teeth. Like all those types of things actually manifest in a way that you can't mentally control this time. So it kind of hits y'all like a ton of bricks. I will say, if I'm not mistaken, he should be here soon. I will say that I think the first one to wake up is actually. Why don't you all roll just luck check for me?
D20.
Yes, I think everybody can. Yeah, except for Argus because something specific is happening to him, which you have an idea as to what that is. Go ahead. What'd you get?
7.
7.
14.
14.
17.
17.
13.
13.
7.
Okay, so Lahg, you're the first one to wake up, which kind of makes sense that you're the first one to wake up because you kind of like pop the bubble as the rest of them. You stop everything from happening, which allows the rest of them to wake up. Well, at least these two to wake up. In doing so, there is a moment where you feel lost in your sleepiness, where you actually go back into your own subconscious of sleep. But it's definitely one of those points. I do want to make this very clear. As all of you wake up, you feel the same way as far as your memory can recall as much as you would as one of us when we wake up from a dream. Sometimes we can recall it really well, but most of the time it's like this fleeting thought that starts to degrade really, really, really quickly. And we're like, and we have like some idea, but it's gone pretty quickly. So even though you guys were there for 2 months, I think the feelings of what you felt there are far more imprinted upon you than the actual things of what had transpired. I'll say that with a caveat of saying you remember making the shield, obviously. Like you remember like bullet points. You remember the time when you passed the door. You remember being drunk and playing. The details are gone. You remember the conversation you had with Pinky and the fact that you made progress on the fortress. Like basic stuff. But anything more specific than that, it gets pretty foggy. If you'd like to try to remember certain parts when it comes to that, I'd be more than happy to have you roll something to try to remember. Like if you wanted to remember exactly what was on the clock tower, or exactly the method as to which you
What
tried
happens
to
in
make
the dream
this
world
shield.
stays in the dream.
Yeah, it's very Las Vegas. It's kind of funny. Vlog has made a pocket Las Vegas in his head.
It's these showgirls
That
now.
actually totally rides for
Yeah,
Paul,
it's
too.
Yeah.
totally canonical, and I love it. I can't wait to make this a full mechanic. Wonderful. So, Lahg, you wake up first. You pop out. Moonchild is there, curled up next to you. It looks like the shield that Zemdek had been working on is there before her. It's a little damp. It looks like she's been gnawing on it a little bit.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You guys are all in the same-ish room, right?
So we
Or you're
were.
We were in the
Jack's
same
or
room.
No.
Across the hall.
You're across the hall.
Unless
but
he
you guys are in the
slept
same
walked
room.
over there during the dream. But
Yeah, I mean, well, when it comes to space between then and there, it's,
We had rooms in the Fang, and I think I just said
all
that
of you are in the Fang.
I had
Yeah.
taken the
Yeah.
room right across from him, so I
You're
could
in like a ambassadorial or court quarters,
kind
pretty
of
much.
keep an ear out. But yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's nice digs. It's not bad. It's pretty good. It's probably one of the better places you have been before. It still has that Spartan feel of, the dwarven kind of. This is still, when it comes right down to it, was built as a military installation, a town that was a military installation in order to protect us from somewhere. But has since had some upgrades. So Fang, it's nice big beds. You guys are sleeping on like queen size beds
can we feel
per
the gold in
person.
them?
What?
Can we feel the gold in the beds?
Can you feel the gold in the beds?
Well, because Logren said that he kept
Yes.
gold in the beds.
Right. Do you want to wake up and search the bed?
I believe I actually
Okay.
had searched the bed
had
like
searched
last
the
time.
bed.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think we ever actually covered that because you don't know which beds Logren has hidden gold in. So yeah, you know what? Go ahead and roll an investigation check for me.
16.
16.
Wait. Let me make sure I don't have bonus dice. I think I maybe do. I do. So that's a 19.
19. Okay, you do. It's interesting. You don't find anything in the bed or the frame or like the mattress of the bed, but you do notice that the bed is a little wobbly, and you notice that one of the floorboards is a little higher than the other one. So you shove the bed over, you remove the floorboard, and you find what looks like a box that's covered in a couple cobwebs that's down there. Pull it out.
I check for traps.
Okay. Go ahead. Check for traps. Another investigation check.
That time it's going to be a 7.
A 7. This you look at it and you say,
Better than
"This
I
is
expected.
old. It's just a hole." You reach in and grab it.
I knew these dwarves were crafty.
Well, yeah, you've met Argus.
Can you roll a dex save for me?
Oh God. Does this matter to the others of us that are in the room with him?
I'm going to say the way that you are asleep in this moment, because it was so
Okay.
unconventional.
Perfect.
You're going to wake up when you wake up.
Perfect.
That kind of thing. Because it's
15.
so deep.
15.
15. Okay, you do like hear like a sound when you put your hand in there, and then you and you pull your hand back out before this just huge, like we're talking scythe style blade, just creates another plane of existence between where the floorboard was and where the box is. It could have just clean cut off your arm. You also notice that it is like sizzling, like the edge of the blade is sizzling, like it's covered in acid. So you avoid that, and then it starts to slowly reset itself.
Mage hand.
Okay, you mage hand, and then while it's resetting itself, you're able to pull the thing out. A little acid drips on the box, but no big deal. There's a couple spots. The box appears to has no lock on it. It's just a wooden box that's closed.
Mage
No
hand.
lock, no latch. You mage hand it open. It just opens. There appear to be what looks like a couple, I don't want to say heirlooms as much as like nostalgic pieces of things in here, and a handful of platinum coins. It looks like there's a child's toy in here, like there's a small dwarven style like rattler, like baby rattle, and a small doll that's made in that kind of like sharp corner style, kind of like a representation of what like an earth golem would look like. That is made in like a soft limestone, so you can't chip your teeth in it or like hurt yourself. And there's a couple pieces of platinum.
Just like 2, 3.
Oh, I'd say like around like 9 pieces of platinum. Yeah.
$90, man.
Looks like it was like either a time capsule or saved for a rainy day. Definitely looks like something where they put the kids' things that they didn't want to throw away and they wanted to keep for nostalgia purposes. these do look like I'll even give this to you because you are familiar with handcrafted things that were given as far as for kids because you lived out in the wilds and your family made you handcrafted things. These don't look like super, super old. Even though the box had cobwebs on it, I mean, that's not abnormal, especially in a place like this that has spiders everywhere and whatever.
You could be like a month old at that point.
I don't think it's difficult for Lahg to probably make the connection that these probably belonged to the late child that died, that one of the Logren's late child, and the box was probably either meant to remember them or meant for them at a certain time that they never really got to. So, or like one of the toys was theirs and one of them was meant for them for later, that kind of thing. But you take the gold or you take the platinum. You put the box back.
Debating if I take the other stuff too. Because Lahg is easily amused.
And an asshole.
And that.
Dwarven child toys, Lagh's level of maturity. That's a good balance.
Yeah.
He'll leave the rattle, but he'll take the doll.
Okay, cool. It is like a carved piece of limestone, so it's a very soft stone. It's like a limestone sandstone kind of mixture. That does kind of look just very. It's the corners are rounded because of how soft the stone is, but it just looks like some sort of earth golem, some sort of like it would kind of look like the sentinels that you guys have heard about, if it had any more definition. Very, very, very low definition. Just kind of the average shape of it. The only thing that's actually carved into it are the creases between the arms, so you can differentiate between that and the brow, the like flat line that it is the mouth, and the small indentations that make what would be eyes, and that's about it. Seen between the legs, seen between the arms, basic facial features. That's it.
Cool.
You grab that. It is about yay high, easily fits in your hand if you want to pop it somewhere. I will say it is of a softer stone, so it is fragile. It's something that if you just put in your rucksack while you're adventuring and you like fall somewhere, there's a good chance it could like break or shatter.
I'll just wrap it in my spare clothes and.
Okay, cool. You got it. You bubble wrap it. Wonderful. Lahg, you're the first one to wake up. Why don't you go ahead and roll? Tell me what your passive perception is first.
10.
10.
I just woke up, man.
Mm-hmm.
The DM is laughing at you.
He's just trying not to do it audibly.
Stealthily.
I'm just making sure that I have this right real quick because I made a note. Make sure. Yeah, you're doing this for a while. While you're doing this and you're kind of like wrapping up, do you put the box back?
Yeah, I'll mage hand it back.
Okay,
so
cool.
I
You
don't
put the box back,
mess stuff up.
floorboard, move the table. As you're moving the bed back on, who was the next highest, I believe?
I had a 14.
I think that was the next highest, right? So Cole, you wake up in the same room. You have your own queen bed there. You wake up as you hear the bed of the moving across.
No, I didn't find any gold. I looked high and low, but we can check your bed.
Deception against insight? If
Yeah.
you want to, if that's something that you want to do.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't find any gold. He's not lying.
That's
That is true. That is
all
true.
right. If you would like, you can do persuasion. It's up to you. You can choose whether it's persuasion or deception because this is still a.
You better have a high roll, dude. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'll
so
do this.
deception.
Okay, I'll give you advantage on this because technically it's not a lie, but it's still shifty as fuck, and Cole is trying
That's a
to
lot.
interpret what it means.
So I'll go with my first one. That's a 22.
Well, I rolled a nat 20, so a 26.
Lahg definitely found something. You don't know what it is, but it's definitely something of value.
I pull out the golem.
Yeah, sure you did. Didn't.
Pull out the golem. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks fancy to me.
That's all you found?
Yeah, just that.
Okay.
Back. Hey, do you want it?
No, I don't know when I'm seeing my sister anytime soon. You can keep it.
All right. Or let's check your bed.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, check my bed.
Go ahead. Roll an investigation check.
And I'm helping.
So again, this is all like retroactive. I did want to get to the point where Argus had that dream,
Right.
and then his bed was burning, because I wanted to end on that nice dramatic moment. We're going to catch up to that in a moment. We're just talking about all the stuff we kind of skipped before all that happened. So go ahead.
So he said he's helping me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, fine. I imagine, like, then Cole, you're actually searching the bed proper, and Logg's checking to see if there's any loose floorboards.
Okay.
Because he learned from his previous experience.
So, but advantage, right?
Yes, yeah. Either that or both of you can roll your own.
That looks good from here.
Yeah. 21.
21. You actually do find a couple of, I don't want to say coins. I want to say they're like bars of, like when coins were melted down and then put into something in order to store them easier. In like the corner, it looks like a piece of the mattress was actually cut out, and these were put between the frame and the mattress itself in order to just sit there and never be possibly found unless someone was actually looking for it or someone actually flipped the whole bed.
Yeah.
You do find what looks like 3 small like gold treasure bars. How like the Spanish would sometimes move stuff in very, very, very
yay
small.
big.
Yeah, about yay big. We're talking about
But yay big, and then like,
Twinkie
yay big
size.
and yay big, yeah.
Twinkie size gold bars. I would say with both of your experience with gold, I'm not going to make you roll for this. Your idea is what you could possibly get at this. You find 3 of these. You could possibly maybe get 10 to 15 gold out of each of these bars. Okay. So there's anywhere between 30 to 45 gold here.
Right, that's still more than we had before.
You're also kind of getting the idea. I'm like, oh, well, there's probably a little bit all over the place. Makes sense for somebody to do that.
Knowing like the stories that I've known from like royal families having to hide or anything, you hide what you can so that way no matter where you are, you can still grab something. And
you have a go bag, or if a room burns down and something gets damaged,
you still
don't
have
all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Yep. I would like to mention that these bars are also unmarked. These are treasure bars that's meant for like a treasury, and usually they are marked with some sort of maker's mark as to like what kind of a government that they belong to, and if not, if they're marked with X's, that usually means that they're repossessed gold that have been grabbed from illicit dealings, like they have been grabbed from pirates or repossessed from like, black market or less legal dealings, and then have been reinstituted into the government. These don't have any mark, which means that they are illegal. These are the other end of that, meaning that they are unmarked for the purposes of not being traced. So somebody melted down gold, put it here so that it couldn't be marked, and have no way of knowing where it actually came from.
That way, cool. Yeah, I will take all 3 of those.
Okay, cool.
But we found them. I mean, just.
You also know.
Yeah, and you got a doll.
You also know that if you're caught with these by any law enforcement official that knows things about that, they're gonna have some questions for you.
Which is why I'll have a talk with Zemdak later.
Okay. Cool. That's what you find.
Besides, he's
Who's
more
next?
likely going to use it.
I think
than
you wake up
I
next
am, unless we need the money.
correct? You got like a 12?
I've got a 10.
I got 13.
You got 13? Okay, Zemdak, you're up. You're across the hall.
I hear them
Honestly, I'm going to throw those into the party.
moving beds and scraping things.
Sure.
So I go, did that really happen?
I don't know, but I got something I need you to hold on to.
Wait, no, there's the shield is in here. It really happened.
I see the shield sitting over in
Yeah,
child's
you
bed.
see it. It's exactly the way you imagined it. I will say some of the less like floaty bits.
Yeah.
That you were like, oh, that looks awesome. Don't look as sturdy now. You might want to be like, oh, I should probably re-weld that because that realm doesn't have the same amount of physical laws as this one does.
Right.
And I will call him over and show him the bars that I found with no mark on them, because he will probably know the same thing that I know about how we probably shouldn't be caught with these.
It's like a piece that they're like, oh, the artistic director and the designer's like, this is what I want it to look like, Frank Lloyd Wright style. And then the architect is like, listen, there's only so many things we could do with physics. And so it's as if you rendered it and it looks very functional, but there's some parts you could probably fix.
Okay.
But as far as it doing what it is that I sent you, it can do all that stuff.
Okay.
Like I said, I would pull him over and show him the gold bars and be like, can you put these in your bag to keep them safe? I mean, I was gonna throw him into the party fund anyway, so.
Tuck him away with the rest of the illicitly found treasure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you go across the hall. You have a little powwow with these guys.
I pick it up like a turtle shell, kind of.
Go ahead and roll a
assuming
strength
it's-
check to try to
yeah.
pick this thing up.
Exactly. That's not bad.
You gotta help him if it doesn't. He can't lift it.
14.
14, not enough.
Here, you need help.
Try to lift
You need
this
help with
thing, and you're
that.
just like dragging it along the floor.
I'll pick up the
This
other
thing
side.
is heavy as shit, and it is like the size of you.
Okay.
It's fully no. It's like the top of the shield is still a little bit taller than you
Yeah.
are tall.
So I've got it like on my back, and I'm like hunched over.
As I grab the tail end.
You're
he's
trying to-
grabbing the tail end
So
of it.
this is great. So Zemdek, I
Keep it
want to
from
just actually
scraping down the hallway.
narrate how Zemdek tries to pick this thing up at first, because he tries to be like, it's like, and then it moves the tiniest bit, and he was like, okay, maybe if I use leverage. So he flips it over as best he can, and lays it so that the holding side is face up, and it kind of goes back and forth, and then he lays down on it, grabs the straps, and like tries to roll over, and he does. Eventually rolls over, and then you realize it is squishing you. And you're like, oh, and you're stuck. You can't move. You're a turtle that is stuck, and it is so heavy. It weighs about like 10 times more than you weigh. So you are just stuck under this thing.
A little help.
I gotta go over here. Try and get like one end of it.
I go and try and help, but Cole is notoriously not strong.
Yeah.
So.
But you're also not small anymore.
Yeah. I mean, is it heavier than Argus?
I would say it's about as heavy as Argus.
Cole can't lift it then.
Yeah. So I'd say with all three of you working together, you barely get it to a point where Zemdak can do the whole like, hi ho, kind of like trudge with this big old turtle shell type thing.
Wait. I'll also use Mage Hand to help with my actual lifting, because Mage Hand can help out a little bit.
Can we turn the twinkling lights are very distracting. Can we just make them solid?
I will at the break.
I thought you were doing that on purpose.
I just can imagine.
I like when it freaked out Adam earlier. It wasn't a big deal, but now it's messing with him.
Now I pointed it out.
If I was watching it, I would be super distracted. Okay. Anyway, so you guys are struggling with this. What I will say
Is it
is,
a tense morning?
I'm sorry.
Is it a tense morning?
A tense morning.
You remember you
music
changed
is
the music
very-
to tense during
Oh
my thing?
yeah, it hasn't changed. It's been tense. I'll say
He was stuck
turtle
under
shell.
he was stuck under a
He
shield.
is stuck under.
I mean, he could have suffocated. I call that tense. Yeah, I'll keep it there for now, because what happens next is the most important thing. You got a 13, you got a 10, correct, Eleazar?
I can
So you
imagine
wake
us
up
just
next, Eleazar.
Okay.
One of the
Plus our
things
mage hands like helping hold it.
20 pounds off.
you, I don't believe, are actually in the Fang proper. I think you fell asleep in the courtyard, in the.
I thought he was in the stable or.
Right. Well, there is no stable.
Right,
Remember?
you're
Because
right.
there's no.
Right,
He was,
you are
he was
correct.
riding
It's
in the
not
courtyard.
The
Yeah.
stables are on the rim of the thing.
Town.
There's no actual royal stables. That's kind of outside. There's no courtyard stables here. You do fall in one of the sheltered courtyard spaces in the grasp and the warmth of Idoltu that I curled up, and you kind of fell asleep on Idoltu. One of the things I will say is that when you wake up, Idoltu is not there. It's gone. You slept well. You do feel more bolstered and powerful and more confident with your experience of that vision and that freezing. You do, and you feel like you've gained another friend. But you like, it's weird. Like, Adultu's not there, but you also have an instinctual feeling in the back of the head that they're not far. Not far physically, like they're gone. They're not here anymore. But you have an instinct, like you just know. You just fully know that if you called for them, they would come.
Okay.
But you do wake up. What's your passive perception?
It is 10.
10. Okay. What do you do?
With the adults who gone, I'll head back to the Fang.
Okay. Yeah. It's right there in front of you. You just want to walk up
So
to
I'll just
the
walk
living quarters.
inside and yeah,
Okay. So you make your way through
and
the.
look for them, of course.
Cool. You make your way through the chambers that you have to in order to make it to, to the living quarters, which are like some of the libraries and some of the waiting rooms and some of the main chambers and studies, the ones with fireplaces and whatever. What you do see is two things, but I want you to roll a perception check to see which of the two that you actually could possibly see first,
Okay.
if you see them both.
Okay. 10.
10. Okay, so you only see one thing.
Okay.
What you do see is Chiron, Carrick Stoneworm, now in, he's still, it looks like this is his first time dressing as some sort of official. So he's got his actual official robes on, but they're backwards. And he did it really, really quick. And he's still wearing and he's barefoot. He's not wearing anything on his feet. But he's rushing, and he's got something in his hands that's covered in a cloth, and he's shuffling very Dexter from Dexter's Lab style, around. You see him running, headed towards up the stairs, and he sees you, and he continues running. Looks not he looks extremely uneasy,
Okay.
scared. You've seen that look before. You also saw him that he didn't come from his bedroom. He came from outside.
Okay.
Not from the side that you came from where the courtyard is, but from where one of the side entrances to the Fang would be to the town proper.
So did I actually see where he came in from?
Not the front door, but one of the other auxiliary doors that he came through.
So I did.
You did, yes.
Okay. So seeing him go up the way he did, I'll just try to walk up to the door and see if I could see anything that might make him react like that.
Okay. Go ahead and either roll perception or an investigation check for me.
Oh, well, you know
I
what I'm
do.
gonna do.
I want to say that this is going to dip into You're now in bounty hunter mode because you're looking for things like threats or causes of fear and that type of mode. So I'll give you advantage on this one.
Okay. Oh, wow. 6.
At advantage?
5 and a 6. Yep.
Oh no. Plus what?
0.
Oh no. You walk out there. You go to the threshold of the door that he came through. You look out. The most you see some people starting to go about their business in the morning, but can't spot anything suspicious.
Okay, so I'll turn back around and I'll head upstairs
Okay.
where I saw him go.
You start following him upstairs. He's moving just a little faster than you because his feet are moving a lot faster, but his gait is much smaller than yours because you're far taller than him.
Right.
But yeah, he ends up rushing down the hallway. I want to say at this moment, Trisheni, you probably wake at this moment.
I'm probably making a ton of noise.
Yeah.
Struggle turtling.
Yeah, it sounds
Out in the hallway.
like some other things are going on in that room.
Eleazar.
Go ahead.
I lift the book off my face, which was History of Economics and the Razor Fang Mountain. Just some light reading to put me to sleep.
Yep.
Hear the banging. Guys, are you okay? What's going on?
Eleazar, I got you a present.
Zamdak's trying to kill himself.
Which room are you in?
Jeez. Okay.
So I hear him.
Peek out the door.
Yeah, you hear the mumbling of people talking and that whole thing. You peek out the door as conversations are happening across the hall.
And then I headed upstairs and followed.
Yeah, they're both Chiron and you are headed towards where everybody is, and you start
Okay.
to hear them having conversations from down the hall.
Did you have a
Everybody
crazy
is
dream
aware of all
too?
this. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, I just dreamt of trade agreements and stuff like that. It wasn't very exciting.
So when I hear
sad.
that,
We gotta find that
Eleazar
tavern
in that
again.
kind of wispy voice, I'm like, what?
Do you remember when we
What's going
when we
on?
fought
And so
that,
I
when
hit-
we saw that
hit
purple
that way.
worm fight? That purple
Yeah.
worm?
Okay. Yeah. Sure. I mean, yeah, you're headed that way. That's where Chiron's going
Tavern
anyway. So you
again.
want to move
all
your
in
mic just a little bit? Just fix your
That's
mic.
where it is.
Just so it's right in front of your. Yeah, you got it. Cool. And then so all of you are are encroaching upon the same space. You hear this. I think, Cole, you have the highest passive perception, right?
Of the people here, yes.
Yeah. I think at this point you start to smell that something's burning. And not like food burning. This is like this is like bonfire burning, but also something that shouldn't be burning that's burning because it gives that odd, like, acrid smell as well.
I'm gonna look at across the shield that we're helping carry at Lahg and go, Lahg, did you start something on fire again?
You were like with me the entire dream. Like, no,
You were up before I am. I don't know what you do when I'm not with you.
It's probably Argus.
not make
Something
fires.
burning.
Yeah, what he said.
I mean,
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen you make fires before when you were asleep.
Yeah.
Not as many as Argus.
Yeah. Where is Argus?
He's in a room just a few doors down the hall.
Look down that way.
I
Is
dropped
there
the
any-
shield.
We look at
Yeah,
Argus.
you look down.
I'll leave my mage hand there, but yeah, I let go of the shield too.
Boots? Try to lift the shield back up off it.
No, you can't even roll for that. Absolutely not. There's no fucking way.
I'm not
Your strength is
twinky.
what is your what is your
Oh,
strength?
she's got
13?
better and she got better strength than I
you
do.
Oh, that's
13.
right. 13. Okay,
Not bad
we'll
for a
get to that
wizard.
in a moment. So you guys you kind of completely just abandon Zemdak.
Well,
over
I
here.
go to knock on. Argus's
Okay, so
door.
as you start to gaze down there and just get to the tiniest bit closer, even if it's only like 3 steps, you start to see there's like a light coming out from his room, like a flickering light, and there appears to be smoke, mild smoke billowing out of the front and the bottom of the door, or the top of the
the
door.
handle or whatever device it
did
is
you-
hot.
Did you sleepwalk last night?
Not that I know of. It would have been in our room, not here.
And now you start to like see it actually filling the ceiling of the corridor, of the smoke that's coming out of that door and seeping out of the cracks between the wood and the top of the seam. You start to move a little faster as you finally gain like your stance right before the door. You tap the doorknob to see if it's super hot. It's not hot. It's warm, but it's not hot, meaning that there's no fire on the exact opposite side of the door.
So I just knock on Argus. Argus.
You knock and you knock. You can hear the crackling sounds of fire kicking up and everything. But before you do that, you hear the crackling sounds of fire behind, and it's hard because it kind of covers any other sound that could possibly be beyond it. The door eventually does open as you are reaching for it, and Argus is there in whatever clothes he decides to be in. I don't know if he sleeps in his armor. I don't think he does, especially not during this scenario. So he's a little bit dressed down, but Argus is there, just standing. There's about a third of his room that
might
is
have
fully
sleeping
ablaze.
armor.
What?
Because of his family's paranoia, he might have like sleeping armor.
Right.
Like he has pajama armor
Yeah,
that he
something
puts on
like
to
that.
sleep.
It's slightly lighter, so that way he can wear.
He has
it
a
easy.
blanket that carries with him that he can just put his shield into, that he just then pulls over himself, like
see,
a
I
little
was-
slot.
I was
Talk about a weighted
imagining a blanket when you said that, where the in between the layers is just full chainmail.
Yeah, something like that. It's a weighted blanket. He has a weighted blanket. I don't think he carries that with him, but like maybe, who knows? But he's standing there looking at you like Winky. You can't really read his face too much, but a third of his room is fully on fire, including the entirety of his bed.
Okay. I know you can't put that out. Just move.
He just kind of lets you in, just kind of steps to the side. He looks in his head like a little preoccupied right now. So yeah, you can step in.
All right. How do I put out a fire?
How big is the room?
Eleazar comes barreling down the thing, also pushes through as Lahg is asking, how do I put out a fire?
I mean,
Hold on.
if I'm
You use your action to use your breath weapon, and you put out a really good amount. Well, you have the thing where you can maintain it. So yeah, you just put out the whole fire.
Magic. And I like start snuffing.
yeah, that's
the
what I was gonna say. Is
small-
prestidigitation can snuff small fires.
Can you just roll a strength check for me real
Yeah,
quick to see
yeah.
if
Oh yeah, am I
Well,
you
smashed
still-
beneath?
That
you
was
still-
actually what he's saying is what I was gonna do, because I have prestidigitation and I let go of the shield.
Go either way. 11.
Oh,
think- I
right.
don't
Okay,
think
cool.
thaumaturgy
Yeah,
does that.
because
That's
y'all
all
are
I've
still
got.
this happens rather quickly, so y'all are still struggling with making sure Zemet doesn't actually die.
11.
7,
11.
11. You'll get there. It's slow going and it hurts your hands. It's definitely not something that you're gonna get free of before
I mean,
all
like,
of this happens.
I would dump it
Yeah.
off to the
Yeah,
side.
that's what's sort of like
Yeah,
she's
trying to
she's
push.
doing her best to lift it just enough so you can like army crawl out of it.
Gotcha.
And that's about all you'll get, but it's gonna take a minute to
Okay.
do that, and it's like rescuing him from rubble, that kind of feel. You prestidigitate, you can start snuffing some things out. You
Put the fire out.
cool down.
Moonchild,
I'm getting the
Moonchild can
ones
come
that
in
his
and
misses.
Moonchild can come in and ray of frost.
She can, if you want her to. Is that something you want her to do?
I mean, it's a new ability of hers. and she can
Cool.
it
How
whenever
do
she
you
wants.
how do you call her over here? How do you request that she comes over here?
Moonchild, fire! And she'll come over and she'll like her tail will just kind of like do this like sort of cyclone motion.
Like Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, like she'll just like move
My
it in this cyclone,
God.
and then she'll go like she's about to bark, but instead of a bark, it's just
The visual here is just, and it's just this ray of frost. It's just it's just like a burst of sleet that's magically enhanced. So it just kind of and she hacks up like she's hacking up a bone. Like she does that. Her hackles go up. Her tail moves a lot.
Yeah,
like
that's
she's
her
winding
somatic
up,
component.
And then and she just kind of hacks up a spray of like
She
frost
had to get her
and sleet.
spring tight before she can let it all out.
So nowhere near as elegant as Eleazar's, but
We went from the room being destroyed one way to destroying the room another way.
right.
it's her first time doing it. So
Yeah.
she got a little verklempt, or they got a little verklempt. Well, no, you had mentioned that she's a she, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we decided. I'm sorry, I just keep. I doesn't matter. So cool. So this takes a minute. You guys eventually do douse all the flames here. Argus looks a little dissociated. A little kind of, I don't want to say comatose, but he looks a little not here. He's very preoccupied right now. However, you had pushed past Kyron in order to move forward to try to douse the fire. Then Kyron comes up on the rear and kind of stands in the doorway and is like, Guess.
This is Kyron or
Kyron
or Pinjack.
Pinjack.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Pinjack. I meant Pinjack this whole time. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I meant Gray Gloves Silvervein. I'm so sorry. Oh God, they have They have the same voice. So, I'm sorry. I didn't mean Kyron. Kyron is. You have not seen Kyron this morning.
Okay.
It was Gray Gloves Silvervein in his official new council robes that he's wearing backwards that you had followed all the way up.
I mean, like, it's still all tracks. It's still
Yeah,
all
yeah,
tracks,
all
so.
tracks.
Down here, gloves under the.
He's like and he's like almost stepping on you as you kind of like are on your back, and Trisheni.
Hurry, please. I'd really like you to hurry. Come
He's
on.
out now. You can let go.
All right. Oh.
Eleazar,
So-
I made you a thing, by the way.
Cool. He's right now. So Pinjack comes. He almost passes by you because he didn't know you were under the shield, and then he like doubles back and comes back. So I don't know if this is a problem, but you told me to keep an eye on it, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know what this means, but it looks like it hasn't moved, and it's just not there anymore.
Like
Here,
it's
I'll show
all
you.
Black? Oh.
No. Like, the wall that's on the other side of that building, that's in the cave where we are in, or like, that spot. You could see that.
The
but-
house itself is just gone.
I don't see any more house. It's gone.
That's weird.
And I know that wall. I mean, you
backyard,
can't see
yeah.
it. The resolution's not great, but I mean, we have our little carvings of when we were kids on that wall. I mean, I know that wall. That's outside.
Yep.
This hasn't moved because I could tell from where it is how far it is from that. But there's no wall there anymore.
That was quick.
It's gone.
Yeah. I hope that means that they're gone too. Safe somewhere.
What if they're not? Don't we have to like do something?
Yeah. But
Well, I mean, chaos. Can you get us there?
not quickly.
What do you mean? You guys have I seen you kill massive, huge subterranean worms and kill cephalomorphs that have caused people to not be able to move for several minutes and can control minds and summon creatures from other dimensions to run into people and explode. And you're telling me that we can't get to where we need to go to help our family right now? That's something that we can't do?
I put a hand on his shoulder and I just say, I'm trying to work on the equations to fold space like that, but it's really tough and I don't have it yet. I'm sorry.
We're still on foot.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of those circle thingies here?
She's the smart one, just so you know.
We have one here. No, Kyron and I had a meeting. We have a magical transportation glyph here in Steercrag in the
Oh,
Fang.
you do?
Yeah. But,
It's not
we
usually
need
on the
somebody
door.
to use it. Do you not know how to use Really?
I saw, remember half of it, but not the full bit.
We've seen
I
it
have to
done.
And I have to finish the other half. It was torn away from
That's
me.
somebody got us to where we were with you at Minheim
Yeah.
through one of those, but we didn't do it.
So another mage did it then.
Yes.
Not somebody
Well,
nice.
who do we know? Who do we know?
The people in the pink armor that killed all of your friends.
No. I mean, who do we know that's a mage?
Are there any on the council that's, the ones in the moonlight?
Well, yeah. I mean, what was his name?
Did Mr. Mortanic wake up?
Was it Mortanic?
No.
Armand?
Armand could potentially.
He was a caster of some kind.
I mean, yeah, he's been, as far as I know, condition is stable, been in the temple, as far as I know, overnight. I don't know if they woke up in the half of the night and went home, but seemed to be fine. They expected a full recovery. I don't know. We could go check. Do you think they would know something like that? They're supposed to be the court mage.
Well, if he's the court mage, then probably it's a better chance than walking up to somebody on the street and asking them. It's worth a shot. We can try. Do you mind showing me the place, and I can try to work on the other half of the equations and rush?
How long is it going to take you?
Probably a long time, but if I start now, I might.
It's below Thulmor bed, so if the court mage knows how to get anywhere, it's to the capital. He's got to know the glyph if he knows any glyph.
That would make sense.
So I think the fastest way would be to get there and then try to make our way home.
But
If anything, there's most likely. I mean, Thulmor Bed is massive. It's huge. It's the capital of the Razorfang. So there's probably multiple of them there. I would imagine there's one within the Aetherveld, the Macrolith. But I mean,
We can't go there.
well, I mean that's not something that we would have access to. Only probably council members and trusted people actually have
Right.
knowledge of the ones that is there. For sure, there's one at the more ground level embassy or maybe even the. Actually, it would make sense that the Ferris Archives would have one. That's make a lot of sense for the Ferris Archives to have one. I mean, I can ask, but I'm sure probably the mage knows more about it than I do. Armand probably does. Should we go get him, or?
If you guys go get him, I can start searching in the library or asking around if there's anything written down somewhere for an address book, basically.
Are we?
But
sounds like we may be leaving quickly. I need to go grab that item I was getting made.
yeah,
I need to run by the kitchens.
Grab food. And an extra drink, Lahg.
Okay.
We promised we would stick around for a couple days.
Really? Now?
we did before.
This doesn't count as an emergency?
For us, it does.
Is Argus...
Then you go.
Is this an emergency for Steerkrag, though, is the question. As it put on your
What does it
council-
matter? You're not officials here.
Is Argus still disassociated, I assume?
A little bit, yeah. He's kind of listening, but he's
We can't ask him to do ascending right now,
Yeah.
basically, is what I'm saying.
not right now. Not right now. I mean, What is it? Screw Steercrag. Mom and Dad could be in trouble.
Mom and Dad have been...
So could our brothers and sisters.
Yes. I know that. They've been in trouble for...
I mean, I could stay here, but you're the chaos ones. Go do your chaos or something.
Sometimes that makes things worse. Just saying.
I'm going. We're going.
We just can't go immediately. We have to get some things.
I'll let Kyron know that
I
we
just
need to
can't-
use
yes.
the
I was going to say, I just can't make that decision on my own.
I'll let him know that we need to use the transportation glyph, and I'll make sure that we can retroactively fill out the emergency paperwork if we absolutely need to. But this is absolutely an emergency.
Yes.
A family member of a council member is whatever.
Yes.
Also, if something has happened to our family, we don't know what that could mean. That could mean some type of incursion. We don't know. And that's still more bad.
The house...
Is gone, as far as I can see. I mean, I can only see one angle, but
Things don't just disappear without magic being involved.
I mean, it was a stone wall.
Yeah. It's not just gonna poof.
No, that's the point. What? Can you? What can you?
Nothing. That's the problem. I can't do anything.
Do we even know if this is real?
We can try talking to him.
Why would-
maybe?
Why would they want Kyron to have this? It's not his family. He wouldn't know anything. What it meant. What?
Who gave it to you again?
Some half elven courier wouldn't give me his name.
Would anybody else be willing to touch that? I'm wondering if it's only like attuned to what you see, and maybe like it
Or
changes.
elven, I couldn't really tell. What?
I mean, we can check on my family real quick.
Did they say they were pleased to meet you?
Yeah, they did. Oddly, yeah, they did say that. How did you know that?
Guess.
Oh, that annoying asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
He actually said, "This is for Kyron's eyes only. Don't look at it."
But he would have.
Like he made a point to say, "Hey, don't take a peek." He even said that. Like that was, like I wasn't gonna take a peek. Come on, you tell me not to take a peek. I'm
The way this guy operates, he knew you'd take a peek.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't like being manipulated. But... Wait, so what does that mean? You mean he knew that I wouldn't give it to Kyron, and I would keep it because once I looked at it?
That's just my guess.
Yeah, probably.
Who is this guy?
He's pleased to meet you.
So, did he do this?
I don't think so.
No.
He seems more just a narrator.
Cole, I think you should touch it.
Touch the ball.
Generally, I only do that when I'm alone, Lahg.
It's but it's for a good cause.
All right.
Touch it.
Yeah. Only because you said it that way.
Okay.
Like, let me see that for a second, just to see.
Because he's holding it like a cloth. You touch it,
Yeah.
and full like Palantir style, like Lord of the Rings Palantir style. You go like photo negative Galadriel, and your eyes kind of like your head goes up and your eyes go back at the back of your head, and you start to your vision goes into the ball, so much so that you have like manipulative control of your mind's eye can see 360 from the ball.
Cool.
You do look around. You see, as it turns, rubble, small flames, pillars that are like leaning and broken, massive, like very large piles of rubble that kind of go almost to the top of the cave area. Well, no, it's actually pretty tall. Like lone standing pillars, some wood that's still on fire, it looks like the aftermath of some sort of devastation of like the building is no longer standing. There are some walls and ruins that are left. You don't see anybody, at least in the immediate vicinity at the moment, that you can tell.
Can I take a look for a couple of things?
Sure.
First thing, I would like to see if I can spot a point of origin for this devastation.
I will say, through this kind of looking glass,
Yeah.
there's definitely some distortion. It's not the same
Right.
resolution and clarity as it was if you were looking at it with your naked eye when you were actually there. But so that'll make it a lot more difficult. Why don't you go ahead? I'm gonna say. So what I'll say is this: is that this is more of a investigation check because you're looking for a point of origin. That's more of an involved. It's not a perception; it's investigation. But I'm going to say it's a disadvantage because it's secondhand, and you aren't actually able to move your vision and start to sort through things.
Okay.
You're trying to conduct like a firefighter's source of fire investigation on like through a vid chat.
Yeah. 6.
6. It's really hard to tell, especially since there's like debris blocking your vision at regular intervals. What I will say is that you do hear the crackling of fire, and you hear the settling of stone and the creaking of wood that is on fire. You do hear something else that doesn't sound like an ambient noise. It sounds like vocal, like voices.
Okay.
But it's hard to discern.
Kind of sounds like voices, but I can't quite pick out anything besides that.
Too muffled. It's I'll say it's intelligible as far as you can tell.
Okay. And then the other thing that I would try and spot too, this is probably the same thing. Any sort of tracks leading away, leading to, any sort of tracks that I can see of any sort.
I'll do the same thing. Survival this time, also at disadvantage because of your removed sense of perception.
Hell yeah. And survival is something I'm actually really good at. You said disadvantage, right? 21.
21. Okay, couple things. The rubble here and just the aftermath of devastation here with burning and things that have fallen here. You don't know how long it's been since this has happened. You gather the fact that the fires are still burning. It's something that happened relatively recently. So like it hasn't been a full day since something like this has happened.
Right.
Was what I'll say. You also know that because of the nature of this
View, space.
messed up
Yeah.
terrain, it's going to be very difficult to see any like tracks that haven't been disturbed
Right.
by or are I want to say what's the word? Impaired by the vision. So you do see a couple things. One, I'll say you do see at least one track or one set of tracks that appears to be of a humanoid that is not the size of a gnome, so not
Okay.
so larger than that, but not quite like giant sized. You see one that is more of like a regular
Normal
humanoid
humanoid.
size,
Yeah.
not like human sized, or of that type of medium sized creature. They do look scuffed, as though it was running and then fell. There was a struggle and then dragged.
Okay.
You do. It's weird because you see this, and you've seen things like this before. Almost always is this accompanied by another set of footprints, especially because this looks like a struggle took place. Now, because of that, but you also know that. Oh my God, yes. Girl Scout cookies. You also know that because of. That's what sticks out to you. It's super, super odd that there's not at least one other set of footprints, meaning that some sort of chicanery might be about, some sort of finagling. Either something was covered up or something was magically kipped up, or so there's some sort of non-mundane stuff going on here. Because there definitely a struggle was happened the humanoid individual was subdued and then dragged away. Okay. As far as you can see, you also again hear voices. It sounds like one is far more submissive than the other one.
Okay.
But you can't tell what it is that they're saying.
Okay.
I will. Yeah, I think that's about it. If you want to try to push any further, things gonna have like a severe hindrance as you try to like push forward. You also feel, the longer you hold on to this thing, the more you keeping yourself open to. It's like your firewall is down, or your brain firewall is down, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, totally. Cole would retract that, considering last time he didn't do that. What happened?
Great. So,
so there's a lot of rubble and fires, and I saw one set of footprints, but they weren't gnome-sized. They were like the size of my feet, or maybe a little bit bigger. They looked like they had been running, and they had fallen, and then they looked like they were dragged away, but I didn't see any more than that. I heard some voices. I don't think this is good.
This was the same spot, right?
Yeah, it did not change.
So
Okay.
it was blown up.
I tried to spot where maybe it came from, but I couldn't see anything. I'm sorry.
Please be okay.
one of the things I will say that you did notice very distinctly, like this was a home that was blown up because you saw furniture in pieces that was on fire, pots and pans. There was a butcher's knife and a metal pan that was it appeared to be expelled with such force that it has become lodged in part of the stone or the rubble. Like,
Would I have noticed if the rubble had fallen out or inwards?
it looks like both. It
Okay.
looks like things had. It looks very spread out, so not as much. And then because of that spread out, there was no support, so things started to collapse.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. There's
I have
hand in the wall.
to go.
Are you back with us, Argus? Just try to do like a.
Am I yet?
Yeah, I mean, you've been kind of in like a dissociative state after they've
You haven't
put out
had
the
your coffee
fires in
yet?
your room.
Yeah.
Sorry,
We know you're not completely here. You just watched us put out fires.
Yeah,
and insane
sorry we
things.
had to
So,
do
Yeah.
that, but had to be done.
It's not your house. We can't burn it down.
Yeah.
I know we promised Chiron we'd stick around, but I have to check on them.
Well, is there a way that you could maybe send to one of his parents, or?
You talked to my dad, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Burn, fire.
You should hear the night we had.
I'd love to.
I mean, it's
I have no clue what's going on.
not the first time you've burned your bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time. Oh, I was gonna say non-intentionally, but that's a different story.
That's debatable.
The Dokenaran came from my family. Blew up the Emrys that was protecting them.
Wait, what's going on with my family then?
I didn't see them. I only saw my own.
Well, his family.
The Great Flame showed me.
How did they react so quickly?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they can pop
What did
out the
Chiron
magic.
do?
Well, they're fuckers. That's how they were. That's how they
Who
responded so
knew?
quickly. You mean besides the one who walked off during the scuffle?
But that's only a small piece. Did Chiron do something? Did he say something?
Unless, well, maybe not. Maybe there's other things like this sphere here, too.
Maybe the announcement that Klaxon wasn't the leader when it was done was the signal.
But what was our... Well, I guess we never got told what our real job was.
Yeah. What did you see?
We did what we were asked.
I saw... There's a lot there. I basically got sent into a room full of everything I have sacrificed to the Great Flame. And the woman was there. And they showed me a vision of the Dokenin Rai coming in, burning where my family was hiding. And Emrys setting up a portal, sending him out, while the Dokenin Rai stuck a grenade in his mouth and blew his head off.
Well, that's a good sign for Boots' family because I only saw one set of tracks there, and they weren't gnome-sized.
Well, what version of Emrys was protecting them? Was that human?
It was.
I think it was human.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Or was it the half-orc?
No, half-orc was
Half-orc
human.
was human.
Yeah.
I don't remember anymore, yeah. I know it was a humanoid, but that's all I remember.
I think it was a human.
It was a human.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, I'd like to know where they are, but should we?
I mean,
Should we even know that?
can...
Yeah, possible deniability.
Well, if your two families were attacked, can you check on mine? Because he was at all three of ours.
I mean, what do we want to do? There's a lot of moving pieces here.
So there's one of those circle things they were saying somewhere here.
There's,
A teleportation circle?
exactly. So I was going to try to start thinking about it, but we need to find out if the mage also knows,
Mortanic.
Mortanic also knows how to do that. Otherwise, it might be a bit. I might need some of that coffee.
I have to go check on them.
Are my eyes still fire or not? Okay.
Still sweating a lot though.
But we did see that when he came out. So I don't think you said it this time, but you did say it last time.
Oh, that his eyes were glowing?
Or that one of his eyes was like.
Oh yeah, one of
One
his
of his
eyes
eyes was on fire.
Yeah, one of
Like
his
a
eyes
fire.
was on fire. It's like how you were when you were in your dream and your eyes kind of glowed like what we had talked about with that new thing.
Yeah.
And it was like you slowly coming out of it as you were waking up. And so one of the other one had to completely douse, and the other one was in the process of dousing, and that's what you had seen.
So,
And one of his is like it's not on fire anymore, but it's still
Hot.
red hot.
Steamy-ish.
It has that kind of orange glow to it on the iris. So one of his, it still has that orange glow to it. So rather than the regular color of Argus's eyes, one of them is regular color. The other one maintains that red hot glowing metal color of that orange kind of deal.
so we don't know where your family is.
Correct.
We know where
they went
yours
through a
is,
portal.
and we know that there's probably a circle that can get
We know
us
where
there,
they
or might be
were.
a circle.
We know where they used to be.
No,
We know where your family was. And we know
No, yours.
him.
Yeah.
Not you, him. Gizmo. We know that there might be a circle that can get you to your family.
We know that my house was blown up.
Who's to say they're
Right.
still there?
But
The-
we
If Emrys
They're
got my
probably
family
not.
out, I assume they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
But
So
I have
going there is not going to help us.
I have to know.
Well, let's know.
that's what I'm saying is we can check on at least one of the family areas because I doubt there's a circle that can get us to Kamisk here.
Right. Your family's probably the safest bet. So maybe.
But who's to say they're there?
We have
we
to
need
go
to
to
figure that out.
Don't we have to go to Thulmore Bed anyway for something?
Wait. If we can find them, you can find the local faction, and they can find shelter there, or I'm sure
'Cause
they can
that's
shuffle them
super
around
safe.
as much
the
as they
last
can.
time we saw a local faction of yours, they got
have a better
massacred
idea?
by Dokenin Rai.
Yeah, but he's gonna go anyway. He's gonna go anyway, so we can't let him go alone.
But where are you going to go? You don't know where they are.
And you can't leave here. You need to help support Kyron.
I'm not gonna go. I have to stay here. I wouldn't be any help to you anyway. It looks like whatever it is you might be getting yourself into doesn't sound like
Getting?
something I'm
We've been
good
there.
at. So,
I think we gotta go.
but one of us has to go. I'm
We
not.
got to know where. We can't just go.
Well, Thulmore Bed is where his family is.
We don't know that.
Where are we going, Zimdek?
No,
where
that's
whole
the
family
house.
is.
That's where they were.
That's
Yeah, that's where they were. We don't know where they are.
Where are we going?
potato. Stop taking me literally.
But if
See if you can.
we
How
go
do
where
you
they
want me to
were,
say
we
it?
should be able to find out where they went.
How do you want me to say it?
Not if they went by magic.
Because how are they going to trust me after having that type of experience?
I don't know if you guys don't have it. I know my folks don't have. Not even my brother.
I mean, can you at least just ask if they're safe, and then that plausible deniability. I don't know. Unless there's some key code word that they might be able to...
Does anybody know of some magic that they can listen in on that sending for that we should be worried about?
Absolutely. It's called scrying. It's also, if you were in my head while I send, can you hear back?
Actually, I've never done that. I have no idea.
There's a lot of things out there in the world. I can't trust that anything we say is safe. People could be listening to us right now.
People could. We know. That's why he did that little trick, so that way they couldn't watch us. But
that only blocked one part too. He could have had something on him.
Here's the other thing. They may be trying to trick us into going there, but if we know that, we can be aware and at least check and see what we can find.
If Emrys is baiting all of our families into one area.
Don't think he would. He's too smart for that, though, right?
Well, it depends. Are they
But
trying to get
didn't
to
you
us or not? Are we important enough yet?
Well, didn't you say he got a granuda in his mouth?
Yeah.
I think
From the Dokenin Rai.
maybe it was for him instead of necessarily the families.
She called him a traitor.
Yep. So I think it was that and not the
But
families.
she wanted my family.
Then
You're also a little bit more known, and we know that because of
Well-
what happened down there.
well, then what if we contact him and ask him about what happened?
Yeah.
It's the only other thing I can think of. If we don't
can
want to
trust
go
what
there.
he says.
I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, but
Well, he
Well,
still
depends
knows
on what
we have.
instance of him is different depending on how far
He still knows what we have of his.
Yeah.
Correct.
So he might,
Right.
it's something.
If any of our families are injured, bye Tortesi.
I'll rip that necklace off him myself. And then I'll throw that corpse into a fucking fire.
I think regardless, we're gonna have to travel quickly, right? So I'm gonna go down and start trying to figure out that circle, or at least start writing it down. And if you guys can start doing,
I'll
getting
come
the
with
rest
you.
of the things.
I'll show you where it is. and
Okay,
I'll try
thank
to-
you. Yeah.
If we need to grab anything from town, we should probably do it quickly. Anything we might be missing.
Whatever you do it now.
Yeah.
Because if you won't do it, I will.
I'd rather he not go if we can go.
And the fact that we're discussing this when my family's in trouble
Do you know what you would want to say to them? How will we find out?
doesn't
What do you
matter.
want to know? What do you want to know? Apart from, are they alive?
That's it.
The other
house
part-
is gone. Did you make it out?
So
Are
I
you
do
safe?
nothing? That can't be the right answer.
I'm not asking
not
you to do
doing
asking.
nothing.
I'm asking you to figure out, help us figure out what to do.
And
What do you want
I'm just
done?
gonna let
You're
you.
the ones with chaos and adventure and the ones that solve all
You
these
can-
problems that Zemdak keeps talking about.
Hey,
also
just
create
why
them,
don't
too.
why don't you help me? Take me down to the thing, and we can start there, and that will help out a lot.
And Gloves, just one thing. You're worried about one family. We're worried about 3. Keep that in mind. We're
course
trying
I'm
to figure
worried
out the
about-
best way we can go about this.
I think
Which
yeah. Honestly, the whole world's really kind
I
of
can't
fucked,
help it.
But
What am I supposed to do?
Take a
help
breath
me.
for
Help-
one.
Yeah.
help her. Take a breath. Help her.
What can we figure out to help ease your mind and figure out what's going on?
You can do something. You can go.
Hey.
Find
Go
out
where?
if they're alive. Find out where they are if they are. Find out how you can help them.
Go where? and
Not doing
which
anything and
family?
not can't be the right answer.
We're not saying do nothing. I'm trying to figure out what to do.
And
How do we communicate this?
yeah,
You said there's somebody with them,
Yeah.
and
Unless
they're
they got blown up too. There
Or
was with my
was.
family and not anymore.
the one I saw was by himself and he got dragged away.
Can
my
you talk-
dad can hold his own, and my mother more so. Our dad and our mother more so. But I mean, even with
Sure.
That's against goblins.
even
That's-
with Orin and Turris, there, like
This is a different.
whoever you say, that's supposed to be there, that is powerful enough to keep them under whatever it is that you shared with me.
Can you check
They're,
on
I'm
your
sure
family?
they're probably way more powerful than.
I can check on them and see where they are. I know they're alive.
If he's getting them out, perhaps he did put them in the same place.
Perhaps all the families are together.
At the very least, it wouldn't be suspicious for you to contact your family, right?
Right.
So
Just ask them if there's a known family with them.
And the human family.
While we figure out how to get there.
Who's going to give me the most straightforward answer?
Your mother?
yeah, you're
My sister. My mom's going to be too worried about me.
Yeah.
Your dad?
That's what I
your
was thinking.
sister.
Yeah, one of those two, but I don't know which one.
Some of us need to go to the temple to see if Mortanic woke up
And if he knows.
and if he knows how to activate the circle.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
You
Uh,
take
with-
Trisheni to the circle.
Yeah.
And some of us need to go
Start.
find whatever we need for the group before we go.
Any last minute things you need to pick up.
Yep. Does anybody need anything that we need to pick up?
TJ, do I have a full rest? Okay.
You feel exhausted, but you don't mechanically. You're not mechanically exhausted.
Okay. I'm still level 7 though, right?
You are.
Okay.
But you do have that new thing that we talked about. Okay.
If you can just get more incense, I'm sure he'll poop at some point. That'd be good.
Yeah, I'll grab some.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to raid the kitchen, but yeah, I need incense too.
Okay. I'll
Okay, we're going to do this very quickly.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're going to do this after we get back from the break. We'll be back right in a moment, guys. We'll try to wrap up some of our other errand stuff. So stay tuned. If you're watching this episodically, head over to the next episode, and we'll see you in a little bit. Stay safe out there. Bye.